any second now. There we go. What's up, guys? Welcome. We're back from the road, being out on the road for 2 weeks. Welcome to Art House Live number, I don't know if this is 16, 17. It's in the description. But it's good to be home. It's good to be back. Good to have Matt on the show. We might have some
What's
other
up?
shout-outs. Matt, saw you recently at Big Lick.
Yes, sir.
I didn't get to catch up with you that much. I think we were both pretty busy.
I mean, that show has always been good to me, but this time was different. This is the first time I've gone to that show, and it's been this big for me without a book release. So it was kind of a banner weekend.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
What were some of the highlights for you?
Oh man, and forgive me, folks at home, if I seem dicey. I am painting, so I've always got something in hand.
Can you show what
highlights
you're working
for
on
the show? Well, it's wet.
Okay. If it's not safe to show, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait until it dries a little bit. I'll scan it in and I'll post it a little bit later. Highlights from the show. You know what? I'm a fanboy at heart. You can't do this job if you're not a big fan first.
Right.
So I finally got to meet Sergeant Slaughter. That was a big one for me. He signed my copy of the movie. Fanboy dream come true there. Got to hang out with Keith Williams and Bob Hall, both big influences on me. So it's nice to always see those guys and just kind of play catch up. You don't know who your friends are until you have the audacity to introduce yourself. So, very cool.
I met Keith randomly at or was it Baltimore Comic-Con? It was Sunday morning before anything started a couple years ago. Super nice dude.
Oh yeah, Keith's an early bird like us. He's always in there way beforehand, already working. I love the guy.
Yeah. Looks like we might have another joining us here this evening. Everyone, please welcome James Sketching the Beast. What's up, brother?
What's going on, James?
What's going on, guys?
Not a lot, man. It feels like it's been forever.
Right? That's what it feels like. I feel you.
Yeah. What you been working on in the last couple of weeks?
Trying to catch up, man, on my workload here. It's been hectic and not too crazy all at the same time, if that makes any sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all, but I'll go with
it. Yeah, man, just working on sketch cards. Had my little dude's birthday this last weekend, so that was fun.
Yeah.
And living life, working hard, hardly working.
Yeah. This guy. Well, you missed out on a couple great shows. You're up in New York. I would imagine Big Lick is probably a good, I don't know, maybe 6-hour drive for you, rowing up.
That's a long hike for you.
Yeah, I think it's 6.5. Yes, it's about an average. 6.5. There's not a ton of shows that are super close. Funny enough, this last 2 weeks while you've been at your shows, I've been grinding down on applying for a couple shows later in the year.
Yeah.
And looking into some shows. It turns out there are quite a few more smaller shows than I had originally known about. I got in touch with a couple people who pointed me in a couple different directions. So that was kind of cool. So trying out a couple new cons this year. We'll see.
You can make a pretty big splash at some of those smaller shows, especially if you got a good professional looking setup and got some good deals. Like Big Lick, JD puts on a great show, and the tables are real affordable. The hotels down there are super affordable. On that alone, it's like I had one show where I turned like a big show number, which is even better. But even at call it half what I would normally do at a big show, the fact that I don't have all those extra hundreds of dollars wrapped up in expenses.
Logistics.
Yeah, it's huge, man.
Now, is that a once a year or a twice a year show?
Funny you should mention that. Now, in Roanoke, it's twice a year. It's typically, and I say typically because like any show, you have to boil it down to when is the venue available. But I'm going to say traditionally, there is a fall and a spring by early spring. So like February, September, or maybe it's going to be late February, October. Like it just kind of depends. But they also have a Northern Virginia show that kind of hovers between April, May. It just depends again on the venue and availability. And this year coming up, I think this is their first time doing it. They've got a Greensboro show. And I don't have, I know they've started promoting that one. I don't have a whole lot of info on it off the top of my head because I'm just bad at memorizing stuff.
Yeah.
But
I got my cheat sheet I started writing down here. I got to put it on a computer, but
I put notes in my phone and I've got it set to send me like notifications when important dates are coming up. So I'm aware of the Greensboro show and I'm hoping to be a part of that, but I can't rattle it off right here, right now. It's been a long day.
What else is he doing now? He's got Roanoke. He's got Greensboro now. What else is he doing?
Nova is in Chantilly.
Okay, yeah, I've done that one.
Yep.
Yeah. Is there another one, or am I making that up?
If there is, it's slipping my mind as well.
I think I'm making it up. No,
or you've been on the road for 2 weeks and they're running together.
Dude, I partway through, call it Friday at MEGACON, it became very apparent to me that I was losing it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sucks, man.
Yeah, it was all good though. But as far as Big Lick goes, the only challenge that I've got is sometimes just from someone who's routinely doing shows, all year round. Sometimes I get the dates for it a little too late and I've already got stuff booked. So I'm missing out on Chantilly this year. Greensboro, when he announced that, I was already booked. I adopted the mentality I got to be booked 12 months out at all times. Like I'm already rebooked for stuff in February next year. I'm already rebooked for March.
That with me, just kind of hopping back into applying for stuff. That's what it seems like. That's what it seems like. You almost have to be on a rolling calendar year ahead of yourself than where you're at. Which is
not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, but it's a tough situation to get actually into. Like if you're not already there, where you're already like prepaid, for every show that you're going to for the next year, that's tough. It's a lot of cash to just throw down. I mean, I have one show I have to pay this Friday, and it's not. I don't know, when is it? It's not until I think September. No, I think it's August. But they need payment before they even like do your acceptance, and then it's like $300 or something to just drop. It's not easy. It's not easy, especially when I'm dried up right now. I have no shows the month of January, February, and my first show doesn't start until end of March. So I'm dried up, and as when it comes to funds, same thing for my wife as well. It's been tough.
That's I think the biggest hurdle for anyone that wants to break into at least being an artist on a convention scene is that initial investment, because you don't see that return until you do the show.
Right.
Right. There's no guarantee that you're going to get a return. Anything could happen. And
the toughest part is if some of these shows that I'm doing, you need to have like pay for the next, obviously, and this is the case for a lot of shows now. You have to pay for the next show, or you get the chance that you're going to lose your spot. So if you pay for the next show, so you're not only do you have to make your hotel, your table, you have to make table times 2.
Right.
You know what I mean? Otherwise, you're just losing. You just lost everything you made.
Yep.
It's tough.
That was the hardest part about coming into 24, and even into this year was I was getting away from the tattoo shows. Tattoo shows I could pay a month before.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we've talked about it. They're not always my biggest grossing shows. So I had to do a lot of reinvestment coming into this year and 24. And on top of that, this year, it's like I'm doing a lot of double booths. So even more money. But it's been good, man. It's been good. I think, if you can get your game locked down on what you're doing with, 1 or 2 shows with your tables, you can start expanding that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Big Lick's been good, man. I used the opportunity to let's go back to my profile here. I used the opportunity to get one of my originals that I had done signed by the 4 voice actors for the Turtles that were there.
Nice.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. I was expecting to just go up there and go right down the line and just get one after the other. That was not the case.
Yeah, no.
Now, granted, I got the first 3 pretty quick. I got Barry plays Donatello. I got him first. Then Townsend that plays Mikey. He was right there, and I think he was getting ready to go on break, so he got me in real quick. And then Cam was down. Now, here's the thing. Like, even though I got them without much of a wait as far as the line goes, I did not intend to talk to these guys very long. I talked to all of them for quite a while.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. All super nice guys. I had probably the more interesting out of all of them with Cam, because I'd actually met him before. So, but then Rob Paulson, man, his line, that guy's been in everything. He's been a voice actor for Animaniacs.
Yeah, Turtles is like this much of the game for him. He's done it all.
Yeah.
So, but super nice guy. Everybody that was in his line and talking about him say, had nothing but great things to say. And
I had my turtle moment came to me this year. It was weird. Sunday morning, I was kind of just getting settled in, and Steve, you know my routine. I'm in there stupid early enough to be a problem for security. Although it's hilarious. I have to laugh at it. When, you're not supposed to be in here. I'm in here working. Sorry. I'm the most dedicated convention hoe ever. Like, I'm just at my table all the time. But early before the show opened, everybody was kind of there, and if you weren't set up, you were almost set up. Right. And Renee came by the table. For those who don't know, Renee was the voice of April O'Neil. And I heard the voice, and she started talking, and Renee, happy birthday. It was her birthday. We went out for her birthday the night before.
That's fun.
And I had no idea, but all the Turtle guys do a mean barbershop quartet. I'm not even joking. When they sang happy birthday, boy, did they sing happy birthday. But she started talking Turtle stuff, and I was like, holy smokes, I'm having kind of a fanboy moment. What is she doing at my table? And now I'm caught on the fence between lifelong superfan nerd and I really need to get this painting done.
Go, right? The conundrum.
I have a nasty tendency to overload myself with commission work because I'm addicted to the work. I'm not addicted to anything else. Just the tactile feeling of dragging a brush across board. So it was a really cool show. It was a great show.
Yeah, absolutely. What's up, Dave? Thanks for joining, man. Thanks for hanging out.
What's up, Dave?
I agree, man. Big Lick is always a good time. And historically, I do better at the February show than I do the August. But I'm really looking forward to August this year. I'm going to plan ahead and actually stay at the hotel, the Marriott that everyone stays at, and actually hang out.
Dude, I'm telling you, sometimes if I'm a good boy, I get a weekend pass. I get to go stay at the hotel. I don't have to drive home. I get to actually hang out with my friends. My wife took grand pity on me. I think she just wanted me out of the house so she could study, which is not a bad thing. She's doing it for our future, not just hers. So, I definitely got to hang out and play this weekend. And when Big Lick puts on a show, the show isn't necessarily over because the convention closed. That show goes on and on and on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
After party is a thing.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to if we can make it happen, doing the would it be Saturday night or Friday night or both, getting some cigars, getting some bourbon, getting whoever's around, hang outside again.
That happened. That happened. I'm not the cigar guy. I mean, I kind of went through that phase for sure, but my stomach won't do it now. But yeah, sitting around the fire pit with Sergeant Slaughter of all people, having drinks and cigars, and I'm just, like I said, kid in a candy shop, cloud nine. It's incredible.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, Big Lick, it was a good time, man. I personally from there had to make the drive down to Orlando. Have either of you guys been to MEGACON?
No.
Oh, I have, but it's been several years. I'm going to say it's been at least 10 years.
Anybody in the chat, did you make it to MEGACON this year, or have you previously been to MEGACON? I had no idea what I was getting into. I actually had quite a bit of anxiety about it. I grew up in a small town. Like, big changes, big things, lots of people makes me nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And the big thing was being a 4-day show, making sure I was at the right place for load in, making sure I could actually load in. What's up, McCup? What's happening? I sent you a link in your email there if you want to join. Sometimes it goes to spam, but feel free. Yeah, I'll tell you what, MEGACON was probably the hardest place to hang out if you wanted to hang out with people. There were so many people I knew there as far as artists, that sort of thing. But because there's so many freaking people, good luck doing anything.
Oh, yeah. Everything is a line. Trying to get behind your own table is a line.
Even after the convention.
Yeah.
I found out very quickly that if you did not have dinner figured out before dinner was happening, it was a very wasn't gonna happen.
You were going to the store and buying some ham.
Back when I did do MEGACON, back when I was doing seemingly 1 to 2 shows a month, very much on the road all the time, I learned the rules for MEGACON logistically are similar to the way New York and at that time Emerald City used to be. Your Saturday night dinner plans need to have been made by Friday noon.
At the latest.
Yeah, because the rest of the guest list, if they come in on a later flight, they're probably making their plans on the flight. So by the time the convention hall is full, so are the restaurants tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I ended up going to Publix. What was it? I think it was Thursday night, and just loaded up on a ton of freezer stuff. But what's up, Chris? And Dave, I hear you, man. For the most part, I can get my way through a crowd. What I find that works the best is if you take your phone, you put it on camera mode, but you hold it way up above your head. Between your pit stinking and being in everybody's face, and the fact that you're filming, people tend to get out of the way. It works out pretty good. Works out pretty good.
Nice.
So yeah, I drove partway down that Monday. I made it down to Columbia. Never been to Columbia. Didn't know what there was to see. Wasn't much. And then got in early Tuesday. Ended up staying at the Rosen Plaza. What I'll say about the Rosen Plaza, it's kind of like if you took a Red Roof in, but gave it the core that would have been really nice back in, call it the 80s.
So my kind of place.
I'll tell you what, though, affordable. It was actually clean, and I'm going to show you on a map here, if I can figure out my life here. It was. I thought it was a lot closer than I was. I thought it was going to be like a 10 to 15 minute walk. It was more like a 20 to 25 minute walk. So Google Maps is being a bit of a so right here is Convention Center. This whole drive, I think they all called it the iDrive International Drive.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a parking lot at the end of the show every day. But this Rosen Plaza is where I stayed, and it's like $120 a night.
Well, that's not bad.
Not bad
in
at all.
In that area, that's not bad.
Nah. Considering that like Hyatt and places like that, they're a little bit closer and definitely more modern. We're like 350, 400. I'm like, yeah, I'll take this and be happy about it. But lots of restaurants right here, and this whole area I was like, if I'm feeling hungry and I don't want to eat freezer food, I'll just wander down. It's like this really cool outdoor walking area with little shops and restaurants and bars. If you're by yourself, you could probably find a spot at the bar, which I did a couple nights. But if you're trying to get like a group of 2 or 3, forget it.
Yeah.
Absolute chaos. So I don't know about Chris or Mikkel, if you're in the chat still, what you guys ended up doing for dinner. But yeah, I ended up doing, I think the one night I went to Maggiano's and just got a bunch of food to go on top of all my Publix freezer groceries. But I think there was a Ferris wheel further down. I think the Ferris wheel was over this way. I could be mistaken. But yeah, man, this whole walk, every single one of these crosswalks was like playing Frogger. People were pissed. Like cutting out in front of people and everything. It was a real problem.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
But by the end of it, though, I figured out a good routine. There's actually like a skywalk that connects one of the hotels over here. If you just go into the hotel and cross, you literally shave about 10 minutes off your walk.
Oh,
That's
nice.
that good. Yeah.
That's how Baltimore used to be. One of the hotels that's connected to the convention center. If you knew what you were doing and you knew your way around, you could definitely take the catwalk over. The road that goes between where the tram is, where that trolley is above ground. Okay. You could walk right over all that straight into the convention center. Post COVID, I think they're hip to that because during those hours, boy, is that stuff locked up. Used to be a fire escape.
Yeah. Well, nowadays it's the security. You can't be, I don't know. You can't be careful enough with stuff. Chris says he didn't do much for dinner. He said it was awful. It took us about an hour to leave the park. See, that was my concern was because they were with MEGACON. They started advertising for vendors that you could buy weekend parking passes like months in advance.
Oh my gosh.
And in my mind, I'm like,
that's tough to back up. That's going to be tough to guarantee.
Yeah. Well, it's like, okay, even if I get a guaranteed parking pass, how long is it going to take me to get out of this show?
Yeah.
And Chris wasn't the only one. There's other people saying that it would literally take anywhere from half an hour to 40 minutes just to get out of the parking lot.
Yikes.
Yeah. Kel says she just hit the nearest Whole Foods and buy food for the trip. Yep. That's what I did, but I ate twice as much as I thought I was going to.
Stress.
Dude, those little freezer things, they look good. It's like there's this bowl of chili mac, and you open it up, and you're like, this is what you would give a junior high kid. It's
Nice.
not a very big portion.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, it was, in my opinion, it was a good show. It did not quite match the hype that I was getting in regards to Denver, though. People said it was going to beat Denver's numbers. Denver is still the reigning champ. Show you some quick photos here, though, from the.
What are you stacking poker chips?
Yeah, what do you got over there? What are you doing?
Sorry, I'm looking for my red pencil. Sorry. That's why I turned my mic off for a second. So
I think you turned it up.
Everything. Did I turn it up?
It was really loud.
Oh, was it?
You were doing.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Huh,
Dude,
right.
that reminds me. We were recording.
It sounds like the sore losers table at the Bellagio, just flipping the damn thing.
Years ago, I used to do a D&D podcast, and out of nowhere, we're sitting there. I'm like, I'm doing all the hype, right? Like, you guys walk down into this dungeon, blah blah blah. I'm doing all like the DM stuff.
Mhm.
Hell yeah!
The guy that's running the soundboard, who is also one of the players, starts to open up a bag of chips. And I'm like, the mics that we're using are even higher quality than what I've got here. And it just turns into ASMR potato chips for a few moments. I'm like, bro.
I've been yelled at a couple of times for doing that when I was just hanging out on Discord. And the guys are like, what the are you doing?
Yeah.
God, that's noisy. I'm like,
Yeah.
sorry. Say my mic picks up everything.
Yeah. It happens. Mikkel says whenever she's there, stay on that boulevard and just walk to and forth, which is what I ended up doing. Which I think it's the way to go. If you're physically able to, and it's not like torrential downpour, I think that's the way to go. And she also confirms that solid show, but Denver's the reigning champ. I'm hoping it holds up for this year. Although I did have a personal best last year. If I can match that, it'll be amazing. We'll see.
Well, you always want your shows to be better, but I had that conversation with someone after Big Lick who did not feel so great about things, and I had to remind them, look, anybody can win or lose at any show, and if you find yourself on the losing side more often than not, then it's time to evaluate what are you doing at your table, and is it something that you can change? Because I get having a great show when a new book comes out, because you're going to have folks that are really excited about your new book, and you have something to sell and you have something to sign and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But it also behooves you to be busy. You know, success breeds success. So if you want to be busy at a show, make sure you are busy at a show. Don't be the guy who's sitting there like a lump, staring, waiting for everything to just happen.
Yeah.
Eye contact, engage, bring them in. Sometimes it's fishing. Come on, you got to get them in there. And, you know, have a fun, fan relatable conversation. If somebody's looking at something, oh, you like that character? I love that character. When was your first that character? You know what I mean?
You got Chris's vote. And I would have to agree. The challenge with MegaCon is, especially being a 4-day show and as many people were coming through this door, you can't have, if you're fishing for people, you can't have the usual stick of like, hey, what's up, guys? Hey, how you doing today? I don't know how many vendors were there. It had to have been thousands between artists and vendors.
Yeah.
So that was, you know, you change it up a little bit. Like there's sometimes I was just working on some drawings or some commissions, tried to have different conversations with people, but it was so packed in there, especially Saturday. There's a certain point where like you couldn't even stop people to talk because they were just trying to move. They didn't want to stop. Didn't want to talk, but yeah, it's pretty rough.
I believe it. I believe it. It is a big show.
Yeah. That being said, there was some buzz going around the old internet that some of the attendees were not so happy with how things were going, and I pulled some up on Reddit. We're going to read a little bit of it here. But real quick, Mikkel says that her husband Josh looks like a deer in headlights when he's alone at the booth. Which is, I feel like that could be my buddy Brandon sometimes. He'll talk to people. I think there's other times where it's just like he goes from his job in construction to coming and helping me out at shows, and I think there is a bit of a culture shock. But I think you get the right people in front of him, and that dude will talk all day about heavy metal and all that good stuff. He's a good dude.
Nice.
He actually came with me to Big Lick the one year, a couple years ago. Let's take a quick look here. Let's see what you guys think about this. Obviously, you don't have much context because you guys weren't at the show. But see if this sounds familiar to any of the shows you've been to. I don't necessarily agree with this. This is just what some people on Reddit were saying. Brought some friends to MegaCon for their first time, and I'm really glad I took them to Artist Alley right off the bat. Since I've been attending since 2011, no shopping can get repetitive. That's why I always make a beeline to Artist Alley first. While wandering the showroom floor, I was pretty disappointed by a lot of the vendor offerings. Now, most people are just complaining that there's too many people and the food sucked and was expensive. But I think this is a more interesting take. Many booths featured overpriced merchandise that seemed to be drop shipped from places like AliExpress or Temu. It's frustrating to see the same old stuff being sold at inflated prices, which made it hard to justify spending the money. And they give proof. They said one vendor hit the mark for questionable pricing. They were offering keychains for $10 each. I don't know who Dan is.
It's a show.
It's an anime.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they had a keychain. Would you pay $10 for a Dan keychain?
What's it made of?
Lithium, just liquid lithium. I don't know how lithium comes. If it's a metal, I think it's metal.
Yeah, it's tough. It would be tough for me to justify $10 for a keychain, but
yeah. Well, I mean, Dan or not, like $10 for any keychain, that better be a hell of a keychain, and it's got to have a seriously personal attachment to me. So
yeah.
That to me, on that kind of an item at a Comic-Con, sounds like a vendor who was trying to undercut a mainstay item and make up the difference in the profit margin with the smaller shit.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that get played. Like I do it too, as far as pricing goes. With the items, I try to price things so it makes more sense to buy a bundle than to just buy one thing.
Yeah.
They say that they picked up the keychain, or a friend picked up the keychain, and the guy quickly tried to get her to pay. And having been there a lot, this person said that they looked up the keychain on AliExpress, found the exact same one for just 90 cents.
Nice.
Vendor had 4 people manning 2 tables, yet they had hardly any customers. It was a sign that people were not keen on those prices, or they knew that this shady business. Now, here's the thing. There's some weird stuff that happens with traffic flow at tables.
Oh, sure.
Thursday and Friday, my table, if you look down the aisles, it was routinely like a dead pocket in front of my table, to the point where on Sunday, the 2 vendors across from me packed up early.
Oh, wow.
Like 3 or 4 hours early.
Yikes.
I just made the most of it. I chalked it up to it's just part of the rotation of the room. It could also be a perception thing. Sometimes you look down an aisle and it looks busier, but that's because you see all the people down that aisle.
Yeah.
But I think the challenge here is if you're just buying stuff off AliExpress and Temu and marking it up, it's pretty obvious what you're doing. If you're making your own art and you're making your own things, you might have $1 in your materials, but if you handcrafted it or you made it yourself, the markup's justified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is happening more even in Artist Alley, where, especially among the anime and fan artists, they're buying stuff off of Temu, like literal cases of stickers for $20. I looked it up myself on Temu. You can literally buy 1,000 stickers in a case for $20, and they're selling these stickers for like $5 a piece.
Yikes.
Buck wild.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, and
if it's not your own stuff, then it's not really, doesn't really belong there. If you're an artist,
Yeah.
all right.
Well,
you didn't craft it. If there was a part of you that you made that makes sense. But
it's supposed to be stuff that you made, not stuff that you found on wherever.
Unfortunately, when it comes to stuff like that, especially like anime, manga, anything super popular like that with that demographic, I'm not saying they're there to be had, but one of the key differences between fans who are buying that and fans who are buying traditional comics, things like that, they're buying characters that fit a specific aesthetic. Authenticity does not mean nearly as much. They're looking for the thing that they can't get at Hot Topic or wherever, So anybody who shows up with the rare looking thing, as long as it looks like the product they already love, it's going to sell. So why wouldn't you take them to the cleaners with a 90-cent sticker and sell it for $5? You're going to make it.
Exactly.
The audience that is more in tune with comics, film, especially the tattoo crowd, authenticity is everything.
Dude,
so
Dave says it here. Some of these cons can feel like flea markets. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The crazy thing though, what you just said about the tattoo shows is that as far as authenticity goes, I had some interesting conversations with some folks at the last one I was at, and they said that AI is taking over.
In the tattoo game?
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
That's weird to hear.
Yep. Well,
you'd think they would be a little bit more protective of their personal investment.
Of the craft and all that. Well, here's how it was explained to me. Mikkel's saying it best. If you walk around, you'll see it right away when you're looking at people's flash art. If you see just an amazing like candy skull, or you see like an amazing Native American with like a headdress or something, and you look at it for more than 30 seconds, you're going to see very quickly it's AI generated.
Shame.
Well, here's the thing though, is I was talking to a couple artists about it. They said it's rampant, and they also said that these are the same guys that prior to AI were just using Google search, and they were just stealing other people's artwork anyways. I mean, it's that kind of lifting has been rampant. Let's just be honest, like in art in general, but especially in the tattoo world, there's a lot of people that know how to do the application of the tattoo, but they may not have time to draw an elaborate tattoo.
Yeah. I've got a handful of customers every year, either at Baltimore or Big Lick or some of the other shows, more regional, where a local tattoo artist is still going to have a name for themselves, not so much on a national scale. But I've had plenty of people even hitting me up over Facebook or through Comic Art House saying, can you design me a tattoo of this? And we treat it like a private commission. But I have tattoos as well. I know how much they can cost. So I give them all the same deal. Yeah, I'll be happy to do it. And I charge 50% of my normal rate. I know what you're about to pay for this, kinda. So I charge half as much. It means that much more to me that you're getting something that was done by a person.
Right.
I would rather cut my rate in half to know that you're getting something done by a human being.
Yeah, for sure. We got a couple questions here. Let's jump into some of these. Inscripted, what's up, dude? Thanks for joining us tonight. Do you think that Whatnot is going to hurt the show more in the future for the attendees not being able to meet the artist because they're getting pulled from their booths to sell on shows?
Only the famous ones.
There were quite a few artists that were there at Mega that were sponsored by online retailers, we'll say, that might have like brick and mortar. They might have like artists that they routinely sponsor or rep, but there was a lot of Whatnot sales going on. Have you guys experienced much of this? Have you seen this with shows that you've been at?
Not me personally. I've heard of it. I've heard of it being done, and I see it. I definitely see it more and more for sure. I see like it's kind of jumped from let me do a live stream where I can get you a signature for you pay me and I get you a signature for you, versus now it's like direct to like, oh, I got this Whatnot show and I'm gonna upcharge and whatever. I mean, I think there's two sides to that, right? I guess it's nice for the artist, right? In a lot of situations, but yeah, I think it would suck to go to a show and be like, I want to meet Joe Schmo, or say it's Jim Lee or whatever, we're just pretending. I don't think Jim Lee would do a Whatnot show, but
yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like you go to meet Jim Lee and he's like, well, you can't meet Jim Lee because he's on a 2-hour or an hour-long Whatnot show right now. You have to come back in an hour. You're like, well, I went to this show specifically to see him. I'm only available for X amount of time. Like that would suck. That would definitely suck.
Inscripted, have you run into that issue? With especially, I don't know if you were at Mega. Forgive me if that's where we met. I'm already forgetting. I passed out for about 4 hours today after thinking I was going to be good to go. So I'm a bit foggy.
It's funny that you're asking about the Whatnot stuff, because that was never really a thing for me until it was. And here's what I mean by that. Excuse me for reaching. I got to get this whole stack over here. I have all of these, all of these blanks that now need to be done. And what I have told, I'm not going to name the proprietor because I don't know how this would like. I'm not calling anybody out for anything negative, but what I've said is I won't do it during a show. I will do that during a show after hours. Like we could go back to the hotel room and do that online after, or what I think would be a lot of fun is do it from the bar or somewhere in the lobby. I've never had a problem telling fans or clients, don't have time right now, no problem. I'm eating dinner here and I'm going to be drinking there. Let's meet up and hang out. You know, I'm not the bashful type. But yeah, with the whatnot stuff and with exactly what you're talking about, taking people from the table. No, I'm a strong believer in stay at your table as long as you possibly can. But I also recognize that as a source of income.
Right.
I approached sketch covers the way I would a normal commission. Part of me doesn't like doing them because I don't feel like I can give them the time they deserve. But if somebody really wants something specific, I'll go all out. But in order to do that, I can't be in the conventional doing it. So I've told whatnot-esque scenarios, yes, I'm in, let's have some fun, and I will take requests, but not at the table. Let's make an event out of it. Let's just take it out of the convention hall and make it accessible to everyone, you know?
Right. Yeah. I know that there were a handful of booths in particular that were sponsoring anywhere from 3 artists to like 10 artists or even more, that were, you know, reps in general for different artists that were doing whatnot streams. And I feel like that's kind of become critical for those folks to actually make money at shows.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there are as many, like you'll always have people coming in getting commissions, right?
Yeah.
It's
we hope.
really,
we hope.
Yeah, right. From my experience, most folks that I've worked with, if you're doing the actual physical work, the artists tend to get more of the lion's share of that percentage of whatever the split is, right? So if they're repping you, prints, you know, they might do 50-50, they might do whatever, but when it comes to your original art, or if you're doing commissions, you tend to get a better cut.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be paying for 10 artists to show up, and you might have to be arranging their travel, you might have to be arranging their hotels, even if you've got big name clients, you're spending tens of thousands of dollars potentially to have this thing happen. This convention, I think I sold maybe 2 sketch covers the whole weekend. I had a couple commissions that I did. The lion's share of what I sold were prints, but there's a ton of people online that want to buy original art that can't make it to shows. So I feel like it's become, from this perspective, from the fan perspective that wants to meet the artist, this is kind of becoming a necessary evil. If you want the artist to be there at all, you almost have to rely on that online market to make it happen. Depending on what kind of, you know, agents they have and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That is if you want to be profitable doing this. So I don't know what the answer is there. Typically when I've had people do whatnot sales with me, they literally just do it right at the booth while I'm there. So you can come meet me and I do my thing while they just walk around and talk with their phone and show stuff. But if they actually have to leave the table, then it stinks. At the same time, you look at the celebrities that are there. There's a lot of them that will disappear for a few hours during the day. So I unfortunately just think it's going to be kind of the way how business goes moving forward.
Yeah.
Catch up with some of the comments here. Dave says that a lot of people were upset with Fan Expo Chicago using AI art on the badges. I feel like I heard about that.
Yeah, I heard that from more than one show, I think.
There's more of it showing up, especially in like the ads and the promo stuff. That obviously I haven't checked it, so I don't know if it is 100% AI. I don't know that I in particular saw the Chicago one firsthand. I don't really look at the badges too long. They just go
Hey,
on. And
I mean, shout outs to promoters for saving a buck where they can, because putting on a show is very much the definition of you got to spend money to make money.
Yeah.
But reach out to your local guys, your regional guys who would bend over backwards for the opportunity to design your convention badge, especially if it's got a licensed character on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they would do it for free, because promoting that their work is on your badge is going to generate foot traffic at their table.
Yeah. You know, it's
and
funny.
Consider that before you turn to AI. Consider that, because I was one of them for years. Oh, you need a convention badge? Hit me up. You know,
right? It's funny you mentioned that. I just saw on Facebook somebody had pointed out. So they had asked, you know, hey, who was the artist that did this piece? It was like they were doing some sort. It was like a promotional piece for a convention.
Yeah.
I can't remember what convention it was, and so he commented that, and they said the convention actually commented back and said, not that it's any of your business, but the artist didn't want credit. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, what kind of baloney is that?
Yeah, I don't believe that for a second.
I don't know any artist that would be like, oh, free exposure? Yeah, I will take that and I will run with it. Across the 7 seas, you know what I mean? Like, sure, if I'm getting put in front of, you know, your potential 7,000 customers, great. Yeah, I just ask that you put my name on the stuff so that they know who did it. No artist.
At the very least, put a table number on it.
Or so, yeah, right. No artist in the right mind would be like, no, I don't want credit for that. I just drew this amazing piece. So it really made everybody think. It really made everybody think, like, you know, it's definitely like it was AI generated. But
the online argument is on. It's not even an argument. It's the thing that we're all guilty of. At a certain point, we're all guilty of it. Never do anything for exposure. We've all seen the memes. I can't pay my bills with exposure. This is true. But for every single artist, I don't care who you are, you started out with nothing and no body.
Yeah.
And you will do whatever it takes to build a body of work.
Yep.
And that's a great opportunity to do that. And I don't think it's opportunistic or sleazy of a promoter to say, hey, you want a table at the show? Let's work out a deal. I cover your table. You design the badge. How about that?
Yep. Boom.
And now suddenly every single person going to that show is wearing your work around the neck, and maybe they're going to come to the table and buy something. That is foot traffic that you didn't have until you did something for free for exposure.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. That was, I had a buddy, I believe his Instagram handle is JProArt, Jeremy. Does really great, like, classic comic book style. And for Grand Rapids, he did really sweet Venom that was not only on the badge, but I think it was in the like the little pamphlet or whatever.
Program.
Thank you.
That little program. Yeah.
Yeah. And he had a bunch of prints of it, but he also had a bunch of like metal prints and just sold like hotcakes. They were kind enough to put like the booth number, and just all day long was moving those things.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, the badge in particular, I know Dave, I just want in.
He said, I'm not there for the badge. I want in.
I'm kind of the same boat, man. Like I don't think much about it. To me, it's more or less just the thing I have to flash to get in. But there are some people.
You know what, though? I'm going to share something. We're going on a little hike. You ready?
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
It's Cribs.
All right.
He's got a box.
You got a magnet? Yep.
Oh wow. That's a lot more.
This is every convention that I was a guest at. Not every convention I've done, but every one I was a guest at.
Yeah.
It's you know, that's I assume every single day that I'm either going to die today or I'm going to suddenly never be able to draw again, and this is the end of my life. So I keep every single badge. They're all important to me. So I'm not there for the badge. Me neither. But damn, am I glad I kept them, because I was there. I went somewhere and I did something with my quasi career.
There you go.
I'll never downplay the significance of a really cool badge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I don't know how this thing works. Now I got to figure out how to put the phone back on the.
I really
this technology crap. I swear. What the fuck?
Got the Dutch angle.
I don't know what's. Okay, that just means something dangerous is about to happen.
You're gonna be upside down next. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny with the badges. I also collect my badges. I don't have anywhere near as many as you have. I collect every badge for every show I go to. I got a nice little stack over there, but some of the shows that I go to don't have them, so it would be nice to have them. So if you're running a show, keep that in mind. Just a little things make a little bit of a difference. It's not necessary, but makes a little difference.
One of the things that Heroes used to do, I don't know if they still do it. I haven't been to Heroes in quite a while. They had collector badges, and by collector, I just mean they had one design for professionals, one design for Artist Alley, for vendors, for guests, like media guests, and then for attendees, and then for staff. And it was always like a team thing, all the members of Guardians of the Galaxy and things like that. That in and of itself became a reason for people to go and stay and collect. It created Heroes has an amazing community built around the art and the craft of comics. So there were plenty of people who were getting 3-day passes. And one of the things that they would do is walk around and say, "Oh, you're not here all 3 days? Can I have your badge? Can I collect your badge?"
That was, I don't think Heroes did that last time, but Cincinnati did, if I remember correctly.
The last time I got a set of those from Heroes, it was all the Guardians of the Galaxy. It was those characters that they were using.
Yeah, Chris, I do the same thing. I have so many of these things. I think if I get to the point like with you, Matt, where it's like I'm a guest or it's like something like that, maybe I'll keep it. But for the most part, it's like I don't want those things banging on my knee while I'm driving because I have it on my keychain or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I've also started keeping the ones where something really meaningful just happened at that show.
Yeah.
The person that you've always dreamed of meeting and all you ever saw when you were a kid, and maybe they were on the top 10 list in Wizard. But now you're sitting next to them. Right. Keeping this badge.
Yeah. Absolutely. I appreciate you hanging out, Dave. We'll see you at the next show, man. So Cincinnati, I think, did, because they had Kevin Eastman in town. I think it was them. They had all the different turtles, right? So if you had the 3-day pass, if you had the VIP, they had all the different turtles. Plus, I think there might have been like a Casey and a Shredder. The only challenge that I had with that mindset of like you had to kind of network to catch them all.
Yeah.
I believe it was security had one of the badges. And it's like, I don't think you want someone from security handing off their badge to somebody, especially partway through the show,
Yeah.
That seems like an oversight, but I could be mistaken on that. It's just from what I remember.
It's worth it to keep an extra dollar bill in your pocket and go to them and say, "Look, when this thing's over, you're not going to throw that out, are you? Because I got money."
Right.
And the collectors will do it.
I'll tell you what, though, I tell people it's like I have extra passes at every show that I do. And as long as I know you, as long as I've talked to you, if we can arrange something, I can get it to you without having to like abandon my booth for an hour while I wait for you. I'm more than happy to help.
That's the theme of tonight's show is don't leave your damn booth.
Dude, just don't do it if you can. But I actually did hook up one guy. They had the Todd Father at this show. We'll get into that here in a second. I don't want to jump around too much, but we'll get back to that. Todd McFarlane was actually there. It's pretty cool. We had one more comment that I missed. I want to jump on this. Nicole says she had one dude come up and literally take pictures of all of her prints and walk away to print them out as flash at one of the tattoo shows.
Flashy.
Yeah.
What?
There's more of this stuff going on. Of people coming up and taking literally a picture of every single print they can before they're chased off. I actually had it happen at Orlando twice.
What?
What was it? Can't remember. It was Friday or Saturday night. My only complaint about the show, because everything else I was expecting a crowd. I was expecting the Wi-Fi to be terrible. I was expecting no internet connection, right? I had planned appropriately for all that. And they're not the only show that has done this. And it can be as simple as it wasn't actually anyone from Fan Expo MEGACON that caused this to happen. It could have been a breakdown on the security side. is that at the end of the show every night, you got to make an announcement that the show is done. And then you have to have the security that's on the floor barking at people to get out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been at shows where they're very good at it. I've had shows where 7 o'clock, there's still a ton of people here. No one's making an effort to get out. And it was Friday or Saturday that they did end up making an announcement like, folks, the show floor is closed. You can now leave. There's after parties going on at whatever. But there was no concerted effort to get out. So I'm literally just standing there, just like I'm staying at my booth. Like I'm not selling anything, and I'm trying to tell people as they're coming up and looking like, hey guys, we're here all weekend. If you can, like, here's a card. See you tomorrow. They made another announcement. Vendors, you need to shut down your booth so everyone will leave. I'm like, that's not how this works. This is all stealable stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
But then this kid comes up and he walks over to my print book and he starts taking pictures of prints. I said, dude, show's closed. It's time to go home. He's like, yeah, I know. Your stuff's really cool. I'm like, okay, I can't go home till you go home. He's like, huh, that's funny. He keeps taking pictures. I'm like, go home. And he looks at me and then he starts taking pictures of my booth. And I'm pretty sure I cussed at him. Because there's someone else standing there and he was just not putting down. It's like a dog with a bone, man. He just would not give it up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, go the fuck home, man. Like, well, that same kid was back Sunday at close. So Sunday, like, people really need to get out of there because now we got forklifts buzzing around. We got dollies getting pushed. Like, if there's going to be a lawsuit, this is when there's going to be a lawsuit.
Yeah. Isn't it okay for those people to die, though, because they're just too dumb to be allowed to reproduce and stay in the gene pool?
I thought I heard that. I thought I heard that somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, the same kid was back and he started taking pictures. I'm like, dude, you can get better pictures on my Instagram and website. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
But what's up, Flower?
Just start taking it all down.
Flower.
Oh, I was middle of teardown, dude, and he was still trying to get as many pictures as he could.
What, like, for what purpose? Lord.
Well, there's some speculation. One is there were guys that were allegedly taking other people's artwork, running them through AI filters to change it, and then making their own like acrylic prints and metal prints. Because technically, if you run it through an AI program, no one owns the copyright to that, so you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. So
if you see cool pictures, but you don't want to pay the con price, you just want to print your own out, that's one way to do it. The other thing is just some of these people, they like the pictures, but they don't want to pay the money, but they want it on their phone for a wallpaper.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really affect, that wasn't money I was going to make anyways, but it's still irritating that you're sitting there going through my book, taking pictures of every page.
Yeah. That's a little weird.
Yeah. Chris says that MEGACON had attendees there half an hour after close on Sunday. Yes, they were there even beyond that. They weren't like hanging at my booth, but I definitely saw them walking around while we were breaking down. One of them pawned through my background display while I was packing it up. So they're actually looking through your bin.
Dude, I would have been like, "Hey, guys, I'm packing up. I'm trying to get out of here. I apologize, but here's my business card. I'll see you guys later. Have a great day."
Oh, you got Ben capitalizing here. Ben sells the laser etched flasks and wallets and such.
There you go.
Oh,
he had $80 in sales.
He capitalized. Maybe if I wasn't so mean.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at that point, it's all those people who are like the fear of missing out or something. I don't know. I don't. This is so funny. The people that are like impatiently need things because it's like you could just go on my website and buy it from me on my website, and you might even actually get a better deal than you get at the con. I don't have to pay any the con prices to get there, right? Yeah. And it's just so funny to me, like, yeah, some people are just like, it's like I'm gonna miss out or I'm gonna forget about it. I gotta buy it now.
I think there's also people they're trying to get like every last minute they can out of their ticket. Yeah. And until someone specifically tells them to leave, they're not leaving.
Yeah.
And it is neat to see like people tear stuff down. It is kind of neat. Like if you've never seen it before,
backstage.
Like, yeah, you get the backstage feel, right?
Yeah.
The chat is rolling here. I'm trying to keep up. Let's see. Also had a lot higher incidence of sitters. People just sitting next to the booth in the middle of the damn. Yes.
Oh, I hate those people.
Oh no, and they knocked over some merch. Yeah. I just start trying to sell them stuff.
Yeah.
If I want people to leave, I just get really aggressive with selling, and it works every time.
That's awesome.
And if they try to turn around and start talking again, like, no, guys, seriously, it's like better than my online store. Like you get as soon as you start telling people features of the product, they just really don't want to hear it.
I never experienced these things.
That's funny. Oh, you don't get the squatters in front of your booth, man, and they're awful.
I feel kind of left out, but at the same time,
if it's not just people just sitting there, it's the people who've like not seen each other for 20 years, so they got to sit there, they got to stand there and talk for like a half hour, and you're like, what the heck is going on right now? Hey guys, hey,
everyone's a customer at my booth. If you're camping out, I am selling you stuff, or I'll get real gruff for a second and be like, especially if there's anyone standing at my booth, I'll get really loud, like, oh yeah, if you come over here, you can check out my purse. Hey, can you move? Come on over. And I don't know, but according to some people, I look like a big dumb biker. So,
oh come on, you don't look like a biker at all.
Not as much.
That's funny.
Not as much nowadays, I guess. But someone in the chat might have called me that once. Chris.
That's funny.
He says down
there. I was telling them to leave, but I was gone when the stuff fell, and Josh got this big guy vote. Yeah, and they went scampering away, the little bastards.
Scampering.
Get out of here, big guy.
There were people that I didn't realize were at Mega until we were packing out to leave. I'm pushing out my last dolly, and I'm walking in. I forget the guy's name, but he makes the Pedro Pascal handbags. Okay. And the Pedro Pascal body pillows. That's his big.
What?
Dude. So this dude
for everything, man.
One of you guys might be able to help me. Drew, thank you. Drew, super funny guy. He for the longest
handbags and body pillows.
Yeah. So check this out. It was for the longest time he would sell these like record art, like what would you call it, like a 12x12?
Sure, like album art.
Yeah, and they were all parody, really well done, and that was like his life's art, right? That he would put together. And then one show, he just thought it'd be hilarious to do a Pedro Pascal like body pillow, and so he ran a double booth, and it didn't look like they were both his; they were clearly separated. And he had one of his friends run the Pedro Pascal booth, and I believe he said it like doubled how much he sold. And it was literally selling two things: body pillows and handbags, like carry bags with Pedro Pascal's face on it. And it was like the what do you call it? Like the daddy pillow, or the daddy,
I'm your zaddy or whatever.
Yeah. Who's your daddy booth? Yeah.
Who's your daddy? That's funny.
Yeah, and it's almost that Chick-fil-A mentality. Instead of having a ton of stuff, it's just like, do you want grilled chicken or fried chicken on a sandwich or in a wrap? And the dude just shovels out product left and right. It's crazy.
Using someone else's face without permission.
Well, here's the thing: is apparently they were at Mega last year, and they did a Tom Hiddleston one because Tom was there, and someone showed it to Tom, and he freaking loved it and wanted one. So like,
well, you can only if it's the celebrity himself, you can only respond one of two ways. That way, which makes everyone happy.
Yep.
Or the other way, which is what his publicist is probably doing, getting cease and desist orders lined up. The celebrity themselves are not going to do that because they need you to believe that they're the good guy. But I promise, the first thing through his head is somebody's selling my face and it's not me.
Yep.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. I feel like more people are going the Disney route though. Like Disney got that bad name in the mid 2000 teens somewhere where they were shutting down that daycare that had a bunch of Disney paintings, and it just blew up in the news on them.
Mm-hmm.
I actually talked to a rep from Disney. He said since then they've gotten a lot more lenient at cons in particular. Online, they'll still knock you down. At cons, if you're putting the word Marvel or Disney on anything, or it's anything that's like overtly hateful or lewd
Overly
or what have you.
political. Yeah.
Yeah, then they'll ask you to stop. But I feel like a lot of these guys, it's just like, hey, random dude's getting to make a living off of selling handbags with my face. I think it's funny. Why not?
I think for the publishers, though, there's always also going to be the on again, off again mentality of, yeah, they're drawing our characters, but you know what? They're better at it than the people we currently have. We could be mining new talent for free.
Yeah.
And all we had to do was watch them do fan art of our stuff and not sue them for it. So
that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I actually knew he might actually still be at Sony. He was the longest running headhunter for their talent scout team. And he lived in Nashville. And he said there's 2 reasons he lives in Nashville. They always need musicians, and almost all those bands that play Nashville, those cover bands, you hear exactly how good they are, and they can play darn near anything. Because most of them don't actually want to be in country bands. That's what makes money. Most of those guys want to be in rock bands. So when he needs to talent scout for rock bands, he goes about 20 minutes outside the city and hits all those bars, and that's who he recruits.
I would imagine they all make decent session players for whoever needs a backup, you know?
Oh, yeah. That's where they get a lot of their, you know, the guy that plays guitar, backup guitar for, you know, you name it. Pop stars, country stars, you name it. They just pull them from Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And he just goes around and signs them. It's crazy.
So it seems like this will be like the 3rd attempt that I've been hoping that Danielle would be on the show, because I wanted to show her this book, but I'm not going to get a chance. This painting is dry, and I need to scan it because I'm going to post it a little bit later. Yeah. My hour is up, but it was good to talk to you guys. I'm going to go ahead and get this thing scanned before my brain gives out for the night.
Oh, good. Yeah, I think Danielle might have said that. I think it was maybe their anniversary or something this week.
Oh,
I think she might be out of town. I think I saw that on Instagram.
Skip the anniversaries. We need to talk comics like right now.
Right?
You know,
the stuff
there'll
that really
be another
matter.
Anniversary later.
Well,
for the folks watching, since she's not here, I'm going to share it with everybody.
Yeah.
If you are down for the history of comics and you really love all the different places where this art form came from, I would definitely suggest this. Trina Robbins put this together. This is called the Flapper Queens. I don't know if it's even in frame. I don't even know if it's out of print or not. It's becoming hard to find, but I would dive into the internet and see what you can get a hold of. Because if you got a thing for Toulouse-Lautrec and Leyendecker and what Trina Robbins brought to cartooning, and you got a love for the swingins, you know, try and find this book. I wanted to go a little bit more in depth, but Danielle's not here, so I'm not going to do that. If you're not familiar with her work, folks at home, you need to be. Because even if you know who Trina is, or even if you don't, Trina's DNA is in Danielle's work. And I don't even know if Danielle knows that, which is why I wanted to share this book. Danielle's onto something really special. She can take a Disney flavor and add some serious, like, give it some teeth and claws. Like, she's not afraid to go horror with the Disney aesthetic, which is really cool to me. But that all came from somewhere. And if you want to know the history of that kind of cartooning, check out this book, Flapper Queens, Trina Robbins. She was a beast. Love Trina. Got to meet her a few times. Got a big hug. She drew me a naked Wonder Woman in my copy of Seduction of the Innocent. Last time I saw her. So she passed away last year, but not forgotten. Her work is the shit. And you need it. It's your part of your history, so you do need it. Sorry, I'm going to be the old guy. I'm the professor in the room right now. I apologize.
You got to understand how we got here, man. And that's circling back to our AI conversation. Even the folks that are saying that they just use it for brainstorming and stuff, it's like there's more meat on the bone when you can say these are the artists that I've studied and learned from, and you keep that legacy alive talking about them and
Shoulders
talking
of
about
giants
they made. Yeah.
Shoulders of giants. So, but it helps to look down and see who the giant is once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't get here on your own. You're still
Exactly.
not here on your own. You came from somewhere. Take a look around and see who it is. Praise them, love them. You know,
Yep.
Trina, all day long with Trina. So, all right, guys, I love you guys to death. Folks at home, thanks for joining. I'm going to peace out. I got some scanning to do and then some Silver Surfer paintings to post up.
You got it, brother.
Dude.
Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you next time.
Peace out, bro.
Peace.
See you
Later.
Hard segue to Ben's comment here is that you never know what celebs will get a kick out of. Ben doesn't just do the laser etched wallets and the laser etched flasks. He also expanded to handing out things like boxes of dicks. It's like the little takeout box.
Yeah, that's funny.
The Supernatural crew apparently loved it. That's awesome, man.
Funny.
Turns out you never know who's going to want a box of dicks in their life.
That's funny.
So yeah, there's actually, I don't know if you've actually studied with artists like Ryan Benjamin.
Yes.
And the likes.
Yes, Ryan Benjamin, Carlos de Anda. Carlos isn't a huge household name, but he's a talented artist. He's actually, to be honest, my favorite of the teachers. He did work on all the concept designs for I think it's Arkham Asylum. I think he did. So yeah, just fantastic work. He's got such a cool style. I actually did not know that I was a fan of his before I knew who he was. And there was a comic book that came out years ago called Brass, which I picked up and I really liked it. I liked the art style, and I had no idea who did it at the time. So it's funny that we came full circle. He even showed that original piece he did, which was awesome. And then him and Ryan Benjamin and Alex Sinclair. Alex Sinclair's done colors for Jim Lee and a lot of other DC artists, and just all really great guys. I studied under them for the Comic Pro boot camp. It was fantastic. It really was. I will admit, it was a much needed improvement on my art for sure.
Yeah, you gotta make that adaptation and study what other people are doing, right? For sure.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a lot of dick talk in the chat tonight.
We're gonna get banned on YouTube here.
I don't know that YouTube knows that we're doing this, honestly. I'm gonna share real quick one of my early influences. I actually kind of forgot about this guy until recently, but I freaking loved Chris Metzger's work, or Metzen, I should say. He did a ton of the original. He's still with Blizzard, I believe. The art for Warcraft.
Yeah.
I freaking love this stuff.
That's cool.
See if I can blow this up. I believe, this is back in '96. So this would have been, I believe, for the first Warcraft. And as a kid, I'm like, this is the sickest stuff I've ever seen.
Yeah.
This dude, awesome. Freaking blew my mind. And then I believe he's still with them. I remember this from the original book. Let's get this one up. Let's see if we can show this one. Yes, I think that was for was it StarCraft? I think is the other one. I don't want your features.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, this was like an icon. I'm afraid to close ads because I feel like it's just going to launch another ad. Download stuff onto my computer. But yeah, this stuff with this dude holding this head as a kid, I'm like, this is amazing.
That's cool.
This is what I want to draw. Severed heads and stuff.
That's awesome.
And then now he's doing more modern stuff. Yeah, this one too. Just as a kid, all those little details, all that ink, and how gritty it was, man. Really built into my early love for doing super detailed stuff.
Nice.
Thanks for hanging out, Flower.
Yeah, peace.
Yeah. Yeah, his a lot of people didn't realize that Warcraft was actually like a real-time strategy, like top-down game back in the day. Everyone knows it for World of Warcraft. And God, that first game, man, I played the heck out of it. Oh, I thought I saw. I completely misread that. I thought he said you had to leave.
Oh,
I am like clearly falling apart.
gonna have to do more chibi art.
I completely misread that.
That's funny.
My bad. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah,
thanks for not bailing on me.
Thanks,
just
Flower.
yet.
Sorry, I have it full screen, or I would have corrected you.
Yeah, it's all good. So yesterday, that drive home, I did talk to you guys about this. So I stopped Monday in Charlotte to see the fam, and hung out with my brother down there, and his wife and the girls, and decided to make the drive home Tuesday. Didn't realize, I didn't look at the National Weather Service, didn't realize that Virginia was about to get hit with a massive ice storm.
Ooh.
And typically when my phone gives me warnings about like flood affected area or winter storm affected area, I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine. It was almost not fine. Yeah, it was, I think 45 when I left Charlotte. Virginia dropped down to just below freezing, and it was like that sleety, slushy, and they were not nearly as prepared for it as I would be if I was up here in Akron, Cleveland area.
Mm-hmm.
It got pretty sketchy. There were times I was doing about 35, 40 and a 70.
Oof.
And just white knuckled.
Yeah.
So,
been there. Yep, been there.
So yeah, added about an hour to the drive. Once I got north of Virginia, though, it warmed up just enough that the road treatment could do its thing, and we got out of there. So, yeah, I completely, my mind. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. My brain saw, well, have to, and then my brain just skipped to love, which I thought said leave, and I literally read this in my brain as well. I'm gonna have to leave.
That's funny.
That's how out of it I am,
man.
So, and it sounds like you guys got the crud that's going around.
Oh yeah. It's been rough.
Yeah. There was one more thing I wanted to bring up on that MEGACON thing that we were reading. Just because this person had a pretty mature look at like their feed. Everybody else that was complaining, like not many people flock to the internet to talk about what a great time they had. It's usually like, this was terrible, this was awful.
Yeah.
And then like people go on Facebook and be like, did you see the post on Reddit? People are angry. I'm like, of course they're angry. It's Reddit.
Yeah.
Here's
over there.
Yeah. Last couple comments from this person. Also noticed a lot of products featured AI generated art, which felt impersonal, with random 3D modeling that seemed to be drop shipped as well, leading to a lack of originality. There's a lot of people that are just 3D printing the same dragons that everybody else is doing. It's like, I know you're getting into more 3D modeling and doing your thing.
Yeah.
I think that is the future of the 3D printer at these shows. If you're just doing the generic stuff everybody else is doing,
yeah,
it's starting to get saturated.
Yeah, that's what we'd like to do, is kind of come up with our own original designs, because it's tough, because a lot of people, I won't speak too much to what goes behind all this, but there's more than just you find a file, you print it. There are some instances where that's the case. Really, you shouldn't be, because most of that stuff is Creative Commons copyrighted. So it's like for personal use only. When you're printing stuff like that, you shouldn't be selling it. But we have to go, and we have to talk to the people that make these files. We have to pay them for the license. I mean, it's just like if I wanted to officially sell officially licensed Marvel art, right? Like I had to go to them, and I had to tell them, and I had to get a license from them to sell it. And so there's a lot involved with that, and it's not. I mean, it's not super expensive, but it ain't cheap either.
Right.
Because these guys are just trying to make their living too,
Right.
So But yeah, I think for sure. And the downside to this is the person, like the woman, her name is Cinderwing, who designs most of these dragons that you see out there. It's awful for her because she's hurting because of how bad that her files have become oversaturated and stolen by Chinese producers and stuff, and you can't really track that stuff down. Yada yada yada.
Right.
So it's hurt her a lot. Probably not as much as you'd think, considering she does do other stuff. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, that consumerism kind of really drove a lot of that. Yeah. Unfortunately,
Yeah. Well, and there's never going to be an influx of new kids coming to the show for the first time that are blown away by Thing.
Yeah.
And the parents would be like, fine, I'll buy you the Thing. And there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Dragons went from our best sellers to probably our worst sellers in the last year and a half.
Yep. I think that's going to be a future. I know we've got a buddy, Jonathan, that makes his own like little spooky ghosts and like little Grim Reaper guys, and that's becoming a hot item for him. So
nice.
So yeah, I think that's going to be the future for 3D printing at these shows. Because same thing with like the laser. Like Ben has a completely different approach than what most of these guys are doing. Most of these guys, it's literally just Google searching an image, laser etching it on a wallet or on a thing.
Yeah.
A bottle opener. Ben's actually taking the time to like make jokes and make it personal and, working with artists like me to actually get images to put on there. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I think a lot of these folks that are trying to just get in doing a side hustle with even like the lasers for like the wood cutting.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's going to be a pretty high attrition rate over this year where a lot of people, pardon the expression, I try to keep the show clean, but we've already been cussing tonight. It's either shit or get off the pot. Like, I think there's going to be enough people this year that do shows where they just don't make enough money to justify doing it again. And they say, well, maybe I just sell on Facebook. And then suddenly they're not at Comic-Con anymore. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents. This is my silver lining to everything that this person has been talking about. And I love that they put this in here. They say, however, Artist Alley was a breath of fresh air.
He must do that on purpose because he did that twice.
They must think that it's the valley. Sometimes it feels like a valley.
Yeah, I don't know how big it was, but maybe if it was that big, then maybe.
I think it would have been more of a mesa, a plateau, maybe. Okay. Artist plateau. The variety and quality of artwork on display were truly impressive. It felt like a genuine celebration of creativity with artists showcasing their stunning original pieces and prints. Whether it was illustrations, handmade crafts, or unique merchandise, this area really stood out and made the convention feel special.
Awesome.
From what I've seen walking through the vendor section, 100% agree. I feel like the comic vendors were on point. I feel like Unknown Comics and some of those guys that are really appreciating and embracing not just the brick and mortar, but the online sales and the convention sales are really stepping up their presentation game at these shows.
Mm-hmm.
So many of the merchandise sales folks, is starting to feel phoned in. It's starting to feel more like, yeah, I bought this wholesale off a website and I'm just trying to make money.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. In fact, there's one. Have you ever gone the rabbit hole of like statue collecting?
No,
premium statues?
Not really. I mean, I've looked at them. I can't afford them.
Oh, they're expensive as hell.
Yeah. I have one or two.
Yeah, I've got a handful myself, but it seems like the bigger shows like this, there tends to be representation from some of the bigger statue manufacturers. There's one at this show that was more or less just like a hobby shop that had a bunch, and none of them were high end. They were I don't know. Even those, like, they're still like quarter scale statues, and they just looked rough.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, I agree, man. I feel like there's a lot of people that are just trying to get in to make a quick buck. And I feel like this year in particular, because there's going to be ups and downs with economy and everything else with all the world news. Whenever there's a bunch of stuff going on, people clam up. They don't spend as much. I kind of hope that some of these people thought that they were going to come make a quick buck in this market. Have to make a decision whether or not they're going to be invested in this. Because they eat up table space that could be an up-and-coming artist. They eat up table space for someone who is coming to the show for the first time and thinking, wow, this is amazing. How do I get in? Oh, it's already booked up for next year already, and I can't. Well, so much for that. Yeah. So, yeah, attrition is just that idea of there's resistance on both sides, and there's friction, and sooner or later one's going to burn down and break down the other. That's it. And I feel like this year for a lot of folks that are sort of in that, do I push through and make it, or do I break down and call it a day? This is going to be, it's already been a year of attrition coming out of 24. I think this is going to continue into this year. In fact, Chris, I don't know if you follow Corey Smith that does like the grayscale drawings. He even made a post that he doesn't think he's going back to MegaCon. And he was this isn't like insider information. This is something that he posted on Facebook. He had made a comment that if a show makes less than, I believe it's $6,000, it's not worth his time because he won't even cover expenses. Now he's doing double vendor booth, plus the travel, plus cost of materials and everything else.
Right.
I could see how he's got $6,000 wrapped into it. So, judging from the Artist Alley chat, a lot of people are there after Mega. I'm not sure what that means. A lot of people are there. Am I? If you could clarify, Mikkel, because I'm wishing this was coffee, but it's actually decaf because I need to go to bed. I'm falling apart. But if you could clarify, do you think it should fall on the showrunners to make sure that they're letting good and unique stuff come through? What's the word I'm looking for? So curated would be the word. So C2E2 does that more so than Fan Expo does, or even GalaxyCon, where you have to like submit not only examples of your work, but also if you have work history of working with like Marvel, DC, published, self-published. It certainly helps get better talent in the door. I don't know that it changes the outcome for the individual, though. I believe the year that I did C2E2 was the largest artist alley they had up to that point. I think they had around 200 artists in there. And it was all curated. But you have to expect however many tens of thousands of people are coming in are going to satiate the needs of not only those artists, but then all the vendors.
Yeah.
So inevitably, you're going to have artists even in that artist alley that are amazing, that are like, this was crap show. I'm down from last year. This isn't worth it. Parking went up. I can't afford this. It's going to happen. So do I know what the answer is? The only answer I've got is we have to do better as vendors. We have to do better to be the rock stars that rise above. That the other folks that are there say, man, I wish I would have done better. I wish my art would have been better. I wish my display would have been better. We have to take the onus on that and understand that because we are in a capitalist society, whether we like it or not, if we want to succeed, we can't plan on everyone succeeding. We have to succeed by whatever we can do. I am not part of any of like the chat groups, but that doesn't surprise me at all. Thank you for the clarification. Mikkel says that a lot of people are already planning on leaving or are already leaving the scene, and doesn't surprise me one bit.
The scene of Artist Alley? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. And it's in my opinion, I think that's a good thing, and I'm going to show you why. You got folks like this young gentleman, this young strapping lad. I'm going to show you this picture. This dude and his mom came to my booth, and they were just talking and asking me about art in general and booths and advice and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm the right guy to give you advice, but okay.
Tell them to watch the YouTube videos, the YouTube lives we do every week.
Yeah, tune in Wednesdays at 7.
That's right.
To hear me ramble on about whatever. Why can't I see it on
Listen, there's a lot of good information here.
Allow me to try something different because it's not letting me share this. Here we go. So, young Micah came to my booth, and apparently he has done a couple conventions before. I believe he was at New Orleans for the first time this year, and he's trying to get into the scene, but he even said it's hard to get in. It's hard to get booths.
Mm-hmm.
This was this dude's senior year high school art project.
Oh, wow.
He was there at MEGACon because they were doing a portfolio review with DC, and he said he actually got called in there to have his stuff reviewed, and the guy from DC was blown away because everyone else has literal portfolios, and here he is coming in with he had 2 comic books that he had completed.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, there's no better example of what you can do in a comic book than bringing, I don't know, a finished comic book.
Yeah.
He said, surprisingly, though, Rep from DC said next time he wants to see a proper portfolio. He wants to see the actual inks, the actual pencils laid out like you would in a portfolio, which is fair.
Yeah.
So I thought his stuff was really good. There's some stuff he needs to work on, and he knows, and it's already been a couple years since he had put this out. This was 23 this came out. And just seeing how much he's grown on his Instagram. It'd be really cool if you guys, it's his Instagram is just Micah. I don't know how to say his last name. Jinson. If you guys want to check him out, he's got some really cool art, and I think you're going to see more of him, especially at the shows.
That's it.
And this is all done by him. Inks, colors, the lettering, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. Very awesome.
Yeah.
I wish I had actually been serious about my comics when I was in high school.
I think the biggest difference for us was the amount of available tools at the time that were actually like geared towards it.
Yeah. And the lack of actual information too, right? Like now there's 1,000,001 YouTube videos you can watch to go figure out how to get your book printed and where to go and what to do and yada yada. Now, before when YouTube was still new and it was like, what the heck kind of videos we were watching back then on YouTube? Just silly things like music videos. Like, you know what I mean?
Half of it was cats.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Like, that's like how it came to be was mostly cats originally. Yep.
Yeah, I think the only reason the internet was a success was cats.
Cat videos.
But I'm going to catch up with chat, but unless you got any other comments here before we move on this.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Cool. So Chris says that FanX, they put on a few shows. They do Salt Lake, Indy, and Atlanta. It's pretty well curated. But yeah, that drive alone will be enough of a deterrent. Like when you talk about major metro areas like Chicago, San Diego, even down in Florida, there's so many people that can drive to that thing and stay home. Yes, Salt Lake is far. It's very far. Michael, welcome back. When are they going to do a megalomaniac?
Oh, what up, amps?
I can't say it. Megalomaniac. I feel like I might be at one already. Thank you, Flower. I feel like I could start my own fortune cookie company sometimes.
There you go.
And then my family would remind me that maybe I shouldn't. I hate when they ask for advice. I'm like, do I really? Mikkel, you of all people, you need to embrace where you're at, my friend. I know we all struggle with imposter syndrome, especially as artists. We struggle with confidence from time to time, or all the time. But you are crushing, and more consistently crushing than ever. So definitely keep doing what you're doing. Get the hell out of here, Chris. You big dumb biker. Get the hell out of here. The script that says the promoter of the shows need to start promoting artists instead of promoting celebrities when a show is called a comic convention and all they're pushing is celebrities like Indie Comic Expo is wrong. Yes. I agree and disagree. And I'll give you my 2 cents very quickly. Number one, if you advertise that David Finch is going to be there, you're going to get people. If you advertise that someone like myself is going to be there, you're not going to get many, if anyone, that weren't already coming because of something else. I've had maybe a couple people tell me that they come to a show specifically to see me, and they are 2 different people in 2 different cities.
That's never happened to me.
It'll get there. You need celebrities to get bodies in the door.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, I mean, I do think if you're going to call your show a Comic-Con or even be affiliated with Comic-Con, you need to have comic guests there. I will say that at least. At the very least, you need to have a goddamn comic guest. Yeah. I will not stress that enough. There is 1, maybe 2 shows. Actually, yeah, one of the shows that I've been actually a local show that I've been going to is kind of turning into this, and it's like they went from being a Comic-Con to I don't know what you want to call it, a pop culture fan expo.
PopCon.
Right. Yeah. It's not really about comics anymore. You can't call yourself a Comic-Con. Like there needs to be someone out there to be like approved by the Comic-Con code that like you need to at least have 1 Comic-Con guest to make it on this gosh dang list.
Do you know who's calling these things Comic-Cons? Us.
Yeah.
Because they don't call themselves that. So like Fan Expo doesn't call themselves Comic-Con that I know of. We could be proven wrong if someone pulls it up. I believe they just call themselves Fan Expo.
Yeah.
And then if anything, like a pop culture convention. Same thing with GalaxyCon. It's not a Comic-Con, it's a GalaxyCon.
The one show I go to, I'm pretty sure it's in the name. I'm pretty sure it's Comic-Con. So they might have hidden the comic part. Though.
You did go to one, and it was not one of your best shows. It was Baltimore Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Yeah. They call themselves Baltimore Comic-Con.
Yes, right.
Yeah. And you will, my opinion, you will typically never do as good at a Comic-Con as you will a PopCon.
Yeah.
Simply because celebrities get more people in the door.
Right. Yeah.
Now, that being said, some shows could do a better job, like Inscripted is saying here, as far as advertising the guest artists and that sort of thing. But again, like, even if you have Jim Lee at the show, Jim Lee isn't going to get as many bodies in there as possibly even the Power Rangers. If you brought in like an Austin St. John, you're probably going to get more bodies in the door than Jim Lee. I would have to guess. That's going to be a close one. It's a close one.
I'm going to say no on that one.
I don't know.
I went to a show that was here and they brought Austin in, and it didn't bring in as many people as you'd think it did.
It's a very small venue.
Yeah, it was.
If you did that at a bigger venue, I think you might.
Yeah.
I might not be right with Jim Lee, but you get my point. Like some of these other guys,
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
But yes, definitely bag and board those bad boys. I promptly put those in. He's young. We'll figure it out. He's got the artwork down. If the only thing holding him back is a bag and a board, he's going places. Kelly, you don't know. I thought I was the only one. I missed it. I'm behind on the chat. Sorry. I'm gonna look through these real quick.
Yeah, what we miss here.
Organized Chaos and Bourbon as well. Yes. Oh no, I missed something for Flower. What'd I miss? Was it the advice thing, or was it that you need to draw chibi stuff? Do you think there's... I missed something? I'm sorry, Flower. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know.
I usually start off with art advice by telling them to put on underwear one leg at a time, unless you're sporting a kilt. Definitely be clothed at the Comic-Con.
Yeah, please.
I'll tell you what.
Please.
I've always wondered about kilts. I've never worn one. I've never seen one properly like put on or taken off. All I know is I walked into the bathroom when I saw a gentleman at the far end walk in ahead of me wearing a kilt. And I'm like, I've never been more tempted to just like, what's going on over there? You know? And I heard there was a lot of commotion. There's a lot of buckles. There's a lot of cloth moving around. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'll stick to pants.
Nice.
Jim who? Jim Lee. Yes. Oh, yes. Indy. Yeah, Cincinnati, I think, does a very good job of repping artists. Their original venue downtown, like when you walked in on the red carpet, the first thing you were in was Artist Alley. Then you went into it. Vendors were on the wings, and then the comic artist guests were dead center down the middle. So I think they did actually a really good job. But I actually talked to them about that. I'm like, you realize that there are vendors buying Artist Alley booths just so they can be on the red carpet, right? Like there were people scamming them.
Yes.
Thank you for the clarification. I'm bad at taking compliments. It's one of my character flaws. So
yeah, aren't we all?
Heroes does a good job, but what I'll say is Heroes typically isn't one of my better shows. It's if I wasn't staying with family, and Loft 817 might be able to weigh in on this as far as Heroes go. Sometimes it's good, but I don't feel like it's ever one of my best. And they are very comic centric. But they do a very good job. I mean, they don't spend nary a penny on flying in celebrities. It's all comic book industry people. But I feel like my very best show that I've done, Heroes has come to doing maybe half of that. So as much as I love being around the art and the comic industry and everything else, you stand to win more when they've got, whatever people.
The bigger celebrities, yeah.
Michael's a kilt aficionado when he's climbing ladders. Excellent, good. Especially when it's drafty.
There you go.
Kel says Heroes Con does amazing with their artists, even indie nobodies like me. They are amazing. They are a spectacular venue. The only thing is loading in and loading out is a nightmare if you try to use that dock.
Where is Heroes now?
It's down in Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good one. It is a little tough to get into this late in the year.
Yeah.
But they do get a lot of cancellations and last minute changes. That's a show you definitely want to bring your original art and advertise if you're doing commissions.
Okay.
Last year, across from me, I'm gonna mess up his name. Steve Olaf, I believe. He did color work for everybody. He's been across from me the last 2 years. They had David Finch right down the road, Jay Lee. I think they had Jim Lee there. That's cool. Just an amazing show. Someone's got to yell at me. Thanks, Fly. Chris says 100% local, but it's never great. I roll because I'm self-published on my book. Yeah, you scratch that niche of the dark art and the cryptid stuff being a little definitely stand out and different than what everybody else is doing. There's some folks in the comic industry that will turn their freaking nose up at anything. It's wild. Um, I missed something. Mikkel says, Heroes is never a big money maker, but it's great for networking and the environment. Absolutely. That show for me, I feel like this year I'm going to talk to my brother ahead of time and see if he wants to come hang out with me at like the drink and draw and that sort of thing. Because usually, like, I'm in a hurry to get out of there to go hang out with him, you know, his wife and the girls.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if I could get him to sneak out of the house for a couple hours, we go hang out and network. That'd be cool.
Yeah, heck yeah, dude.
I've never been to a book con.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And Steve, for Heroes, I have a secret load in. I'll get up with you. No, I don't use a dock. I use a NASCAR garage and then do the bridge off the side. And if that one elevator is unlocked that goes all the way down, you just go right on the floor. It's amazing. If not, it's multiple elevators and it's kind of a pain. Well, maybe, you know, one of these shows I was thinking, if there's one of these shows that we're all going to be hanging out and maybe even staying Sunday night, I think we need to coordinate with all the folks that we know. If one of the hotels we're staying at has like a barbecue grill or something, just like grilling out, having some beers. Chris says never again at the drink. Are never again on your choice or theirs? Did they kick you out?
Were you too rowdy?
Yeah. But yeah, so all in all, I'd say for me, MegaCon was a success. It was a very good strong show. I think I did about the same as I did at like C2E2 a couple years ago. I think next year I will stay at that exact same hotel. It was walking distance. I will not park in the parking garage or the parking area just because of what a nightmare it is. But yeah. What else you got going on in your world, man? Anything in particular? Anything?
No, just so right now, just kind of getting ready for a lot of projects, finishing up a couple of these sketch card projects, even though I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm running up quick on my deadline, but
there's a lot of people talking sketch cards and trading cards at this show, man.
Oh yeah, no doubt. So yeah, that's a project on my docket is doing a sketch card project, a personal project. Still kind of in the planning phases on that one because it's a lot to undertake, getting all the graphics designed and whatever else now. So yeah, it's something coming down the pipeline in the next couple months. I don't know. I can't say when it's going to be, but it's coming. And then yeah, just trying to get shows booked has been seemingly very difficult, but I'm getting there. Getting there.
So
getting a couple shows added.
If you're trying to describe where about you are in New York, because here's what I'm going to do. We have quite a few people in the chat that know lots of shows. Where about in New York? Like what city or whereabouts? Like northern, eastern? I don't know geography at all.
If anybody's familiar with New York, I am in Buffalo, New York. So that is on the west side of New York. I'm basically right butted up against Canada.
So if anyone in the chat has recommendations, because I actually met James at the first show was in like the Rochester area, but we see each other like Philly and some other places, Baltimore. Yeah. So if you guys know any other shows that are kind of up that way that we're checking out, feel free to drop that in the chat. But Michael has a suggestion. Says you should do a sketch card of a deadline. That could be your next nemesis for a book deadline.
That's funny.
I take both my boys to all the shows that we go to because I want them to be able to be part of the community once they get older. Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say, I think it's critical that people bring their kids to these shows, but also let their kids freaking talk. Like there's times where like the mom or the dad will act like an interpreter, and I can see the kid really wants to talk, and I'm like, Okay, I don't know if you're doing this because you think I'm a big creepy guy, or like you're excited for your kid and you want to represent them.
Yeah.
But let your kid have some interactions.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I got two little monsters. I'm just starting to bring my oldest around to some of the shows with me, which is kind of cool. I'd like to do that a lot more this year for sure, because he just turned 6 this year, so he's like kind of at that good age where like I can start absorbing some of the culture and stuff. My littlest one, not so much. She's too much of a wild child to do anything with, to be honest, in that regards, trying to keep track of customers and all that other stuff while I'm trying to keep track of her is a little difficult. So yeah, but when she's older, we'll start doing that more often. I guess it is going to start getting tough because I can't bring my kid to every show, because a Friday show where I have to travel 6 hours to, he's either got to miss school or he's got to go to school and then get dropped off at his grandparents' house. Yeah. That's adds a complication to that.
Yeah, summertime thing, right?
Right. Yeah. But I'm okay traveling like 7-8 hours to a show. Beyond that, it gets a little more difficult for me to be like, oh yeah, that sounds great, let's do that if it's 9-10 hours. So like I think the furthest I'm looking right now is like West Virginia, Ohio, Michigan I think there's one show in Michigan I'm scouting, but I've been told it was a good show. Yes, but I think it's like 8 hours if I don't cut through Canada. If I cut through Canada, it like cuts off like 2 hours or something ridiculous like that. Yeah.
Huh.
But I don't want to deal with all that.
Them.
Especially if we're bringing my wife's merchandise. Like my stuff, not as big of a deal. Her stuff, a little bit of a bigger deal.
Poking through it.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, you got a few recommendations from Chris here. 5 Points Fest. It's in New York, but probably too late to get in. It's in June, so you might want to check that one out. See maybe if you could squeeze in.
Okay.
Even if you do like a vendor booth, so you guys can fit everything.
Yeah.
And then I've yet to do Rhode Island Comic Con. I've heard very good things. I tried applying. That's a November show, I believe. I tried applying to that one like as soon as it opened up last year, and could not get into it.
Oh wow!
So I would look them up, and if it's something you're looking to do, I would jump on it now.
I'll look into it.
I don't know how far Motor City is for you. Detroit, Novi. That's probably going to be
Detroit. I think Motor City was the one I was looking at. I want to say it's like between 7 and 8 hours.
Yeah, so they're really good. The challenge with Motor City is that if you want to stay in and make sure you have a spot, you're not committing to one show. You're actually committing to 2, because they do it twice a year.
Yeah.
So in my situation, you guys in the chat have probably already heard me talk about this, but I had the 1 year last year. My sister was getting married in May. There's no way I was going to miss that. It was the same weekend. So I lost my spot. I had a really good spot.
Yeah, that sucks.
Luckily, I was able to get a vendor booth. It was a little more expensive, but that ended up being my best Motor City to date. So, so Flyer says, I think last year is when we started bringing them to Comic Cons and staying with us all day. They love it. They're 8 and 10 now. I think that's the age where they can start to appreciate that they're not just there to go have fun. It's like we're working, we're doing stuff, we can have fun. Whereas, 2, it can turn into a ballistic mess.
Yeah.
At any point.
Yeah.
We got some clam chowder talk going on. Glad to hear it. Just turn it into homeschool, man.
Exactly.
Doing some business. Yeah. Just bring the books with you. Do the curriculum.
There you go. What's 15 minus 5? Oh, I got it.
Yeah. Do we add tax or don't we? I don't know. Always add tax, right? Motor City is great. That's where I met Ben, I believe. I think it was the first time I met Ben. He was nice. Booth behind me. The tough part was I was also officiating, so there was not a chance I could miss. And the rescheduling, she texted me around the time I used to do all my booking to like shore up the year, probably around August, September, just to make sure I was good for the next year, right?
Yeah.
She texted me like, "Hey, just want to make sure you hold the date. We're looking for May to get married." I'm looking at my schedule and like, which weekend in May? Because I got some really good shows. And I've also got some shows that would be like, okay, whatever. And it was Motor City. I'm like, shit. Like, it'll be fine. It'll all work out. And it did. But it was a little stressful.
Yeah.
Chris feels the pain. Skipped one show. Yeah. And it's like, there's no telling where you're going to end up. No telling.
That sucks.
By the way, guy, we are just making sure y'all can keep up with an active shit. You guys have been so talkative tonight.
Yeah, it's been great. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Definitely takes the pressure off of me having to figure out what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back then he was doing more of like the laser cutting with the wood.
That's cool.
But yeah, and if you guys could, while you're hanging out, if you could hit the like button, it'd be fantastic.
Yes, please.
$15 minus $5. You need to buy more prints. Yeah, if you can get your kids to just occasionally look and be like, "Daddy, does that mean we can eat at a good restaurant tonight?" While the customer's standing there and be like, "No, son, he would actually have to buy a couple more prints. We might have to skip tonight."
It's funny that we do that. We do that. Me and my wife are like, all right, if I could sell like, 4 more prints, we could eat. Otherwise we're going to the store and buying ham sandwiches. But otherwise we can go to Denny's. We can go to Denny's, guys.
Dude, so what I had been doing at MEGACON was they had the Papa John's booth is right next to me.
Oh, nice.
Kind of. So what I would do is I would go over there and just buy a couple of those pizzas to get me through the day.
Yeah.
Like those small, little personal
pans. Yeah.
They weren't good. That was one of the complaints that a lot of people were complaining about. But MEGACON has no say in that.
Yeah.
So I discovered, I didn't see it till it was too late for the one day, but the CVS right by my hotel, they had the little cooler of like deli stuff.
Yeah.
It's not attached to the whole bank of coolers with all the drinks. It's like in its own corner. So I bought questionable ham sandwiches for the last couple days, and they were delightful.
Oh, that's great.
And those pizzas were like $14 a piece.
Yeah.
Versus like $5 for a couple of sandwiches.
Yeah, yikes.
Oh, we got Mikkel joining in. Have you been here the whole time? I'm going to add you to the stage, Mikkel.
Uh-oh.
Maybe.
How long has she been waiting?
Have you been here the whole time and I just missed you?
No, I've been trying. I got to figure out how to freaking do this. Hold on.
Okay.
My camera is facing the wrong way.
Okay. Do you want me to take you off the stage while you figure it out?
No, it's all right. I just got to figure out how to switch the camera.
There
you go. So speaking of the passenger pigeons.
Oh no.
I brought
the passenger pigeons.
Everyone I talk to about passenger pigeons, they're like, yeah, none of this checks out. None of it checks. I went down a rabbit hole with this with my brother when I was down there Monday, and we're both like crying, laughing towards the end. We're like, you literally have to be beating the hell out of these pigeons all damn day,
right?
And you still would not be able to kill them all. Yeah, I get a little bit of an echo.
Okay.
I don't know if you got headphones or if you got.
No, it's my camera. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah. And there's enough delay too that's going to throw me off. I won't be able to talk, which maybe that's the goal.
Fair.
There we go.
Just standing here to the camera.
Dude, I think the way that they would describe these birds, man, because you see them like when you're driving down the highway where you see like that like ribbon of birds going across the sky. They were saying it would literally be across the entire sky. These birds just swarming when they were like going to like roost and all this stuff. You could probably do a piece on it, man. I think that would fit your aesthetic.
That's funny.
Especially like the Monster Hunter thing. But I think it would have to end with, I've hunted lots of monsters, but these simply outnumber me. I would never be able to take them.
You know what, Steve? You know what you got to start doing, man? You got to start every one of your pieces you draw. You got to put a passenger pigeon in the back of it somewhere, just hidden. That'll be your new thing. People can find the passenger pigeons and all your new prints.
Dude, the thing is, this will be the thing that gets me canceled, right? There's going to be someone from some animal rights activist group that's like, this inconsiderate twat hates animals. You know, if we didn't have regulations, these birds, I'll tell you, it could have been anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And it's the more I looked into it, not to go down this rabbit hole again, or pigeonhole, is that there are so many regulations that came out of it for like cross state, or what did you say, interstate commerce laws revolving around game animals. I feel like there's more to this.
Oh yeah.
We only scratched the surface the other night. I'm gonna figure it out. And that's when Pete is going to come after me.
You name the date, and I'll start doing the research.
Yeah,
we'll do a passenger pigeon special. We'll blow up. There'll be nothing to do with what our channel is actually about. But
the unfortunate thing is with the acronym, if you do anything passenger pigeon, it's going to be PP. So we've already been talking about dicks enough tonight. Welcome to the chat, Mikael. I appreciate you joining us. What are you working on? We're going to get
flagged on YouTube for like questionable material.
It should have been flagged a long time ago.
Yeah. Week 1.
Is that V you're working on?
I am working on Vi, yeah.
I said V. That shows you how much I don't know about.
It's all right. I'm actually just starting the 2nd season right now. And it is really freaking good. The only reason I started even drawing these characters is because, I draw a lot of video game characters. And everybody thought that my Borderlands characters were arcane characters. And so I was like, well, if they're popular, I guess I can draw them. And then I was on the treadmill and I started drawing Jinx, which you saw when I was on last time.
Yeah.
She sold really well at MEGACon, and everybody was asking for Vi. So I was like, all right. And then during, I've just kind of been watching it as I've been getting on the treadmill, and it's a really good series, actually. It's very, very good. So the art in it is really cool. It's not anime. It's like this really weird mixture of a bunch of different styles. It's on Netflix. If you just pop it on and watch like 2 minutes of it, you don't even have to watch the whole thing. Just watch like 2 minutes of it, and I guarantee you'll just be like, "Oh wow, that is kind of a cool meshing." It's like really cool the way that they've done the art in it. Yeah, it's like this. I don't know. It's like steampunky, hand illustrated, but it's not. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a bunch of different styles all mixed into one.
The Corridor Crew guys did a animators react on that one. That's pretty interesting. They dive into the technicalities of it.
Yeah,
so they do a mix of the 3D animation with sort of a painterly style, but then they actually have people go in and do hand animation on keyframes.
Yeah, it's fantastic. The way that they mix it, just from a purely artistic standpoint. It's really, really good. I don't watch a ton of TV. I don't have the attention span for it, but I've been watching that, and I watch it mainly on the treadmill. But definitely recommend it just from a purely artistic standpoint, just to kind of watch it. It's really good.
I've heard good things. What's it on?
Ask for her, so
is that Netflix?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about canceling. I've got Disney Plus and it's garbage, man. I haven't had Netflix in years at this point. Like the last big thing I watched on Netflix was Tiger King. And I canceled after that. It's like I had my fill and moved on.
The only reason that show was so successful because of COVID.
Oh yeah.
Definitely,
oh yeah.
Dude. You know, if you were watching it now, you'd be like, what the hell did I watch this for? I must have been bored out of my mind.
You know, like we were all in a fever dream during COVID, and Tiger King was a fever dream.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like I need to get back on there and catch up with stuff. But yeah, Arcane definitely looks good. So our chat is still hooked on the pigeons, and there's no restart to it, dude.
It's perpetual.
Yes, I am perpetually pondering pigeons of the passenger variety in particular. But the old tech passenger pigeons didn't come with Google Translate. They're worthless. Well, here's the misconception, because Daily Show, Jon Stewart actually just made the same mistake. He made a joke about the communication that we don't have the passenger pigeon anymore. Passenger pigeons didn't relay messages. It was the carrier pigeon.
Yeah,
Lots of pigeons.
Yes, that makes sense.
The passenger pigeon, we just ate those and killed them for fun.
Yeah. Go back and watch that video if you have some time. We do a deep dive. It's a deep dive.
I need to clip it and like make it its own thing, because
dude. Yeah.
Like I said, I'm actively trying to get canceled, and it will be some wild animal activist group that finds me, and that's how I'll get like infamous. It won't be my art. It'll be how much I don't believe this conspiracy that we killed 2 billion. And here's the fun part. I just watched another documentary. They say that the estimate goes up. There might have been as many as 5 billion pigeons.
No way.
5 billion. To put it in perspective, there's around 8 billion people now on Earth, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't even know how they can count all of them. There's so many.
Yeah.
But imagine trying to go around and just smack every person in the back of the head.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, right.
By lunch, you're like, why am I even doing this?
Right. Yeah. That's funny.
Let alone, like, I don't know. So here's another list of shows here. This is for you, James. Here.
Yeah, thank you.
So we got Connecticut GamerCon, Uncasville, Connecticut. Pine State Expo, Portland. Connecticon. I've heard good things about Connecticon. Fan Expo, Boston. I've heard mixed reviews about Boston. When I was there, I had a pretty good show. There's a lot of people I talk to that usually pull around the same numbers I do that did not do well.
I heard Boston was only bad because of the change in venue last year. I heard if they had not switched the venue, it would have been fine.
I wasn't there last year. I was there the year before. And that year I did pretty well. And then they had to change dates and venues for whatever reason. I think it was construction or something.
I went many years ago as a general attendee to Boston, and dude, that place is a cluster, man. I tell you. But it was a great show. It's a great show. I had a lot of fun in that show. This is the show I met Stan Lee at. Actually, it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Chris says it best right here. Results will vary. I feel like Fan Expo, you have to get those end cap booths, those premier artists.
Yeah.
If not, like,
they're pricey, dude. They're pricey.
Yeah, but once you go down those in lines, it's over.
You know, I sorry to derail real quick, but I applied for AwesomeCon. Have you heard of AwesomeCon? I applied for AwesomeCon, and of course there were waitlisting people because I think I don't know. I don't remember when the show is, but
April.
In April, yeah. Okay, so that makes sense. But they were so I emailed them like, hey, they're like, well, we're not accepting applications right now. And I'm like, okay, well, can you place me on the wait list? And they're like, no, we have too many people on the wait list. We can't even put people on the wait list. I'm like, wow, okay. Okay then.
Yeah,
Usually
dude,
sometimes you can get that and you'll be like, oh, you know what? Somebody just canceled yesterday. But no, that did not happen in this case.
yeah, that dude, he's cut and dry, man. I actually paid for that show coming back this year. I paid a little extra to have the front of the show, the booth.
Mm.
I have no idea if that's a waste of money. We're gonna find out. But
man.
I didn't want to do Artist Alley again because they were only doing the 6-footers, and there was no way I'm gonna pack down to a 6-foot.
Yeah, it's tough. And so I was like, oh, let's take a look at the exhibitor booths, right? Because I'm like, we could just split a booth between me and my wife. Yeah, dude, thousands. Like,
yeah.
Whoa, okay, no, thank you, I can't afford that.
I am gonna try to go all out for that show. I'm gonna bring a lot of original art in frames and price it up.
Yeah.
For the front of the show premium corner, I think I'm spending like $1,800 on it, and I have no idea if it's gonna work out for me.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I mean, yeah, maybe. But I bet you'll do great, man. That'll be awesome.
Yeah,
it'll be awesome.
Yeah,
just like the show. I don't know. I've heard mixed reviews about the guy who runs the show. So, but yeah, no, I don't know.
The only time I've done it, I had a positive experience. The parking situation there was not great.
Yeah.
But that's not them. That's just Washington, D.C.
The hotel was awful.
Which one did you stay at? One of the ones right there, or did you stay a little bit out?
Yeah, I think I got something close because I have to do that one solo. So I was trying to look for something relatively close. And the hotels were so expensive. I think I had to cash in a bunch of my freaking points.
Yep.
Because that was just stupid.
They always have so much coming into that little area.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I stayed at, I believe, either a Days Inn or like a Comfort Inn or something, maybe 10 minutes out, and it was still like 100 something a night, and it was very dated. But the challenge though was parking there. There's only so much like available parking. We're kind of right in that little neck of the woods. So
you've done this one before? Just
the one time I did Artist Alley. Had a pretty good time. I can't remember which version of coronavirus was coming back around, if it was Delta or Omicron or whatever.
But they had Percy, I ate.
Yeah, they reinstituted all of the masks and everything. So
so my buddy told me that this is the only show that he's ever had stuff stolen from him. So I don't know.
Oh, yikes.
Use that knowledge how as you will. But he he said this is the only show that he's ever had to take extra measures than he normally does.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I met a lot of original art collectors there.
Yeah.
And back then I think I was maybe half the price of what I'm charging now, which probably helped with selling some of them, but there's some big money floating through that room.
Nice.
Okay.
Corona Light. So friends, this beverage I'm drinking tonight, that beautiful amber color, brownish amber, one of the gifts I got for Christmas, really cool gift. It kind of the wrong timing, but I actually appreciate it more because of that. It is I got an advent calendar for bourbon.
Oh.
So it comes with these little vials with corresponding numbers. No clue if that's, well, of course it's backwards because cameras and the internet.
Number 21.
But the brand that puts it together is called Flavier. Flaviar, and it comes with what would it be? 24 vials of higher end bourbons.
Nice.
I was expecting it to be like, I don't know, your average like $30 bottles of this and $30. Like some of the stuff in there they're like $90 bottles that they're giving you a
little sample of.
Yeah,
that's killer.
And it came with 2 snifters. So this is Remus Highest Rye, and just off that one sip, it might be my favorite so far. This is a 54.5% alcohol by volume.
Nice.
For those of you at home, that means that is 110 proof. It is very good.
Flammable.
Rye. Do either of you drink rye? Any rye drinkers in the chat? Any rye drinkers on camera?
No, not I.
I think Mikkel stepped away for a second. So rye typically has more of like a burny sort of feel to it. If you double oak it, which I think this might be, it actually tastes like really good candy. It's like dangerous good. And it's 110 proof.
Wow, that's killer.
Yeah. It's like, it feels like it wants to burn you. And then there's just a nice sweet oaky finish. It's so good. I am going to have to get a bottle of that.
I prefer fermented grapes.
Ah.
There you go.
Just leave them in the fridge too long. How's that work?
Exactly what I do. Yep. Just buy a bunch of grapes and just leave them there.
Have you ever made wine?
I have not. No, I am lazy.
Well, that's exactly how you make wine. It's great. It doesn't take much. It's actually one of the easier alcohols to make. You just throw some juice in a bucket with some yeast, and that's it. You come back later and drink it.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wouldn't trust that.
With
my luck, I would not trust that.
We made mead once. That's how I got into it. Being a buddy of mine. I don't recommend starting with mead because you use honey as your base sugar, which is the most expensive sugar you can get. Because you can't use fake honey. You have to use real raw honey. Well,
yeah.
Raw.
$8 for a little tiny thing of it at your cheapest.
Dude.
Eesh. Yeah.
Whenever we would make a 5-gallon batch, it was about $90 of honey. And this was almost 10 years ago. So that's I'm sure the way I hear the bees are going, I'm sure it's only gotten more expensive.
Yep.
The next one though, is super easy to make. You can actually go to your grocery store tomorrow and do this. You can eat. I was making hard cider. If you just get cider that doesn't have any preservatives, which that's really got you. Preservatives will kill the yeast. So if you find cider that has no preservatives or juice, grape juice with no preservatives, you don't even have to put it in a bucket. It's already in a perfect bottle. All you got to do is dump some baker's yeast in there. You can better yeast, but you can use right from the bakery aisle. Go get a little packet of yeast, dump it in there, put a balloon over the top of the bottle, and it acts as your airlock. And in about 2 weeks, you will have probably about 10% alcohol. Or you could just, stop at Speedway on the way home and get some Apothic.
There you go. Yeah.
You'll be good to go.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd try that too.
It's pretty good, man. That was pineapple wine. That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting.
The big thing is you got to make sure there's no preservatives. Or you could just DoorDash. It is. I love it.
Can you DoorDash alcohol now?
Probably.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I didn't even think of that.
Probably depends on your state.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, that was so the very first cider that I made came out a little dry, but you had a little bit more apple juice on the back end to sweeten it. Yeah. Then I added some toasted oak chips to give it more of a bourbon flavor. Carbonate that. Amazing. That was some of the best hard cider I've ever had. Yeah.
Okay. I had some good moonshine the other day. That was pretty good. It was like root beer flavored moonshine. It was good.
Was it the Old Smoky brand, or do you got a guy?
It was some people in Pennsylvania when we were there. They were selling it at a show. I was surprised they were allowed to do that.
They're probably not, but
yeah,
there they were.
Well, there was like police walking around, so right, like I would have assumed that if there was an issue, the police officer would have said something, right? But
I don't think that it'd have to be ATF, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, police have no jurisdiction over that sort of thing, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think that's how that works.
I have no idea. I couldn't even tell you. I just was surprised.
Probably not true at all.
My wife was also like, I'm surprised that they're able to sell. There's no liquor license anywhere. Like, I mean, they're closed bottles with a seal on them, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I don't know. It was interesting. Yeah, they're just little guys, moonshine. Yeah. It was pretty good. It was, just dipping your finger in there, you'd be like, wow, tastes really good. Then you're like, oh god, that was hot.
Dude, some of that moonshine will straight up take your breath away.
Oh yeah, dude. Burning.
Here's our tips on the door dashing alcohol. So especially since COVID, the government here in Ohio allowed you to take one open container out of restaurants to help them out with the sales. Then they started allowing DoorDash from restaurants with alcohol. So I would have to imagine.
That's interesting. Okay.
It's probably gotten a little bit more loose. And stores are doing it as well to help the economy.
We're not in we're not in the 20s where everybody was trying to make alcohol in their basement and it was illegal. So am I off base there? Was it way earlier than that?
No, so that was prohibition, like with all the speakeasies and everything.
Right.
That was when the mafia really popped off. That's that's how Cleveland got on the map with the mafia. I did a deep dive on this the other day.
Oh no.
So some people watch like TV and shows when they're drawing. I can't. I have to listen to like educational stuff.
Yeah.
So deep dive on Cleveland Mafia. Apparently, where they got their name was through sugar imports. So Domino Sugar had a giant factory right pretty much in downtown Cleveland, and it's still there to this day. And the reason why it was so popular is out of all the alcohol that you can make, if you're just using sugar and you're using high-performing yeast, you can make not grain alcohol, but you can make alcohol so fast compared to other things. By the end of the week, you can distill it and have high-proof alcohol in less than 7 days. Whereas if you're making beer, it can take like a month. If you're making like mead or wine, it can take a few weeks to a few months, depending on what you're doing. So that sugar import, that's what got Cleveland on the map. Not to mention it's like halfway between New York and Chicago. So that's where everyone would go to meet up.
That's crazy. Neat.
Yep.
Neat.
Things you learn.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to hear what people like do while they're drawing or while they're creating. Like I don't really watch things while I'm creating. That's why I was watching Arcane on the treadmill. Because I have to, even when I'm able to watch something, it has to be in like bite size. I can't pay attention to something longer than that. So like treadmill is like great time to do it because it's only a little bit of time. But like I can listen to music, but I find I'm most productive when I'm listening to this is gonna sound weird, when I'm listening to synthwave music. So like think like 80s style synth wave. I have no idea why. That is when I am like heavy synthesizer, steady beat.
There you go.
Music. I have no idea why, but that makes me super productive. I will just lose track of time if that is playing. I have no idea why.
Yeah, I cannot watch shows. Can't watch shows. I can't watch movies. I have a hard time with music that has lyrics. If the only real music I can listen to and draw for extended periods of time is like easy listening jazz, like cafe style, like soft piano and that kind of stuff. If I'm listening to heavy metal, I can only do it for like an hour or two, and then it's just too abrasive.
That's funny. I'm pretty much unimpacted by anything that's around me. When I'm drawing, it doesn't matter whether I'm starting with a comedy, movie, music, or whatever. Even if my wife's sitting next to me and trying to talk to me, within about 5 minutes, as long as I'm drawing, I'm drawing. That's where I'm at, and like that's it. That's it. Everything else around me becomes just completely white noise.
Background.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish.
I tend to like hyper focus on stuff. So especially if I'm listening to music that's too complicated or there's lyrics, like my brain starts to drift to like, what are they saying? And then the next thing you know, I'm like Googling stuff. Yeah, the ADD thing is kind of a problem.
Yeah, my brain turns to like after like, I don't know, probably about 20, 30 minutes, my brain turns into I need food.
Yeah.
I need snacks. I need some carbs to fuel this creative process I'm having. That's why I got the man boobies in the belly here.
It's part of the ADHD, man. It's like all those different sensory things you can get hit with. It's like it's all competing to be on the stage.
Yeah.
But our local former ATF agent says that local police typically turn the other way on stuff like that. ALE or ATF agents would be the ones to crack down on your booze slinging at the shows.
Okay.
He also says he listens to the Pirate Sea Shanties.
Flower does lo-fi music too. I love lo-fi. I do lo-fi too.
Yeah.
I'll just put on some lo-fi.
I feel like lo-fi tends to hit more of the too dreary, depressing end of, like, there's so much of it. It's like I feel like it should be raining all the time when I listen to it.
You've been watching too many videos, too many lo-fi videos of the girl drawing with the cat on her shoulder. That's
it's either that or like it's the Adventure Time guys. Yeah. I'm sure there's good stuff out there, but it seems like all their playlists are always like, I don't know. I need something very neutral if it's going to be music. The cafe jazz is about where I'm at.
Nice.
And I'm like, I love jazz. So like, if I'm listening to jazz, I'm like listening to the jazz.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So anymore, it's like, if I don't have like a 2-hour podcast or YouTube video that's just all informational, I start to freak out. Like I literally can't start working until I'm like, please just give me something that I don't have to click around.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. That's how I went down the whole passenger pigeon thing, rabbit hole. I saw that one sign, and then I'm sitting there one day in the studio, and I'm like, you know what? We're gonna learn about these damn pigeons.
That's funny. It's funny. I've been picking up a lot more like information stuff because my wife's been watching like crime dramas and crime documentaries. So I don't know if I'm just like passively or actually am paying attention without realizing it, but I'm picking up things that like, oh, wow, that happened. That's crazy. Like think it back. And I'm like, then I actually have to look up for a minute and I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. I have a hard time remembering that stuff long term though. It's like I have to go back and re-listen to them.
Yeah.
Like I actually re-listened to the whole Cleveland Mafia thing a couple weeks ago. Because it's interesting. It's not pertinent to anything that I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
So the information slowly just slides off the table, and I forget it all. Like I did a deep dive on Napoleon, right? You hear about Napoleon be the little guy, then you hear that he's actually wasn't that little. That dude legit was well on his way to taking over the world.
Oh wow!
Like
got
he was
taken
very
out by
close.
A snowstorm.
The Russians, man.
Yeah.
Like he was chasing them, and they knew they're like his troops can't last in the snow. He's screwed.
Yeah.
But even after that, though, they were bouncing back, and they were trying to figure out a way to like. But then they sent him to go live on an island by himself, and then he escaped the island, and there's a whole thing.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. A couple more comments here. I think we're gonna wrap up here soon. Chris says this show is my background quote unquote music, keeping me working tonight, just cutting leather in the shop. So low key restock for MEGACON week. Yes.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I like talk shows too. It's just like I try to avoid too much negative stuff, and we're not going to get into negative stuff tonight. There's just so many talk shows that dive into it, and I'm like, I don't want to dwell on that stuff. I got to focus on positive things. I know there's negative stuff going on, but like, I have to stay positive.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
In a world full of insanity, we all have to bring a little positivity to the world.
Either that, or I have to be the most insane one. It's one or the other. You know,
Nice.
like I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me, kind of thing. I think that's what it is. Yeah,
that's funny.
You got a question about your hair for Vi? Vi? Whoops. I clicked the wrong button.
You got what?
Pink
Flower
hair.
says, wait, pink hair? I thought it was red at first.
Yeah, her hair is like a red. It changes. It's like a red fuchsia. So I don't have the right marker. So what I'm doing is like laying down a fuchsia and then I'm going to go over it with a red. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Layer it up.
Yeah. That's the way to do it.
To give it that like little bit of purple, but I don't have a right purple. So I thought if I did this and then I put a light red over it, it would still have a little bit of that purple to it. If that made sense.
Yeah, I think so. That artist glove you have also gives you about 20 points more in street cred than any of it. That artist glove you're wearing.
I got a couple of those.
Can you show that for the camera real quick?
Oh, my artist glove.
Yeah, look at this.
Oh yeah.
I would feel infinitely more artistic if I was wearing one of those, and also
Dude, I buy these in bulk. If you knew how many I have in my my drawer.
That's awesome.
I literally buy them like I buy them like 25 at a time. I swear.
I would not recommend buying the ones with the skull fingers on them. I found out really quickly after I bought them that not only do they drag, but they wear off after a while. So it just looks awful. Still looked cool for like a week, but that's about it.
I don't know. I end up just smudging the hell out of everything, and I get ink in my fingernails and everything else, and it's a whole process. I have not seen the Napoleon movie. I have no idea.
Nope, no idea.
I'm sure it's terrible. Just so I don't have to watch it. Yes, positive energy brings more positive energy. Absolutely. We had some good clarification there. Plus 20 artist skill. Absolutely.
Yep. There you go.
All right. Well, friends, this might be the longest show we've done at this time slot.
Oh yeah. We're over a half hour.
Do we have any points of business before we wrap things up tonight? Any more questions from the audience before we part ways?
Until next week. Man, I still don't have a show. I don't have any more. I don't have any shows to talk about. I will say I had a show. I'll give you a little tidbit of things. Watch out for local craft shows. We had a local craft show over the weekend. Was it? Yeah, it was actually Friday. So it was not only was it not an actual weekend day, it was a Friday where people were working, which should have been the first red flag. But it was a one-day, little one-day craft show. It was out in Rochester, which is not far for us. We went to, and dude, it was bad, man. You got to watch some of these people. They don't know what they're doing. People just put together craft shows, and they're like, "Yeah, just give me $40 for your table and come on over." But then they don't do anything beyond that. That's about it. That's it, man.
I had a friend that's done something like that, where it was like $40 for the table, and she said she pretty much set up behind a plaza.
Yeah. And
no one knew it was back there.
Yep.
And she spent hours. Unfortunately, it was out in the sun.
Oh, that sucks,
so
too.
Just baking out there. So yeah.
Yeah. So be careful. Be careful with some of these people and places and whatever. Yeah. Some of them are just trying to get some money at you, I guess. It's tough.
Yep. So do you have any Whatnot shows coming up?
Oh, yes. I have a Whatnot show coming up this Saturday. Yes.
Awesome.
This Saturday. This Saturday at, I think I have it scheduled for 7 p.m. EST.
Nice.
So look forward to that. I'll be doing some comic blank commissions. So
yeah. Sounds like you guys had experienced some rough craft shows. Yes.
Yes.
And Chris, if you're still hanging out, we'll see you around, brother.
Peace.
Yeah. I don't know. Knowing what I can pull in a weekend and how many shows there are, and doing this full time, I can make the trip, if it's a little bit further. It eliminates a lot of the smaller local shows just by default.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. That's for sure.
Mikkel, you got anything coming up you want to talk about? Shows or?
No, my next one isn't until Indiana, so I've got a little bit of time. I'm trying to finish Vi, and then I keep getting asked for Warhammer stuff. So I'm probably going to be doing a big old Warhammer piece. And then
that's interesting.
I'd like to do a smaller original after that. Warhammer, everybody's been asking me for Warhammers because I do so much Fallout stuff. They like my armor, so
yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't mind. I like drawing the armor. I really like drawing medals, so I'm all about it. It's just sort of, honestly, Warhammer is one of those things where it's so lore heavy. It's so big. I didn't even really know where to start. So I've been using these last couple cons to ask people, like, what do you want to see, dude? I have no idea where to start. Yeah. So now I've got a good basis of what people want to see. So I'm going to use that basically as a jumping off point.
You know what you should do? You should do a mashup. If you're gonna do Warhammer, and then do like Henry Cavill's face.
Yeah,
that would be sweet.
Yeah,
dude, I guarantee people would be really interested in that.
Yeah, I was thinking of it. My husband said the same thing. He was like, "You should just take one of the figurines and just, instead of having a Joe Schmo figurine face in there, you should do Henry Cavill's face in there."
Yeah, he's such a big fan and such an advocate. He talks about it all the time, and I'm pretty sure he's doing something with that live action movie. So yeah. You'd be ahead of the game. You did that.
I like Flower's approach, doing them all cute and pink and glittery. In the Space Marine outfits. I think that would be cool.
There you go.
Maybe a little Hello Kitty logo on the side would be great.
That would be funny too. That would actually be cool. Like all like beaten up, but you know what I mean? That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Ben says, don't do normal Space Marines, do Chaos or Orcs or other factions. That would be cool.
Yeah, I've gotten I got some good background. I actually took notes in my phone when I was talking to a kid at I think it was Noah. I actually had him stay at my booth for a second, and I was like taking notes because he was like real deep into it. And I was like, all right, so explain to me, blah, blah, blah. And he sat there and talked to me for a little bit. And
that's cool.
So I got some really good feedback from him, and that helped quite a bit. So
yeah. Now, Chris was saying the same thing I was thinking is careful with Warhammer with GW. They are so copyright protective. I have heard that about them.
Oh, okay.
There's actually a comic book that they were trying to smack down that was going to, I think it was Indiegogo, that they were trying to get Indiegogo to take it down because I think the book was just called Space Marines. And of course it features guys in armor and space.
Yeah.
And I believe from a legal perspective, I could be wrong on all this. They couldn't strike it down because Space Marine is too loose of a term. I think the area where they were potentially in trouble was that one of the prominent logos they use is like an eagle on the chest. And I think that was one of the things that was getting them hung up. But I believe they still allowed the book to move forward.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't realize that they were one of the companies that didn't really like fan art.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we don't talk about much is, everyone's worried about Disney and Marvel. But a lot of people tend to forget, like, some of the more popular indie stuff. People tend to take it for granted that, like, oh, I could do a Lady Death print if I wanted to. Like, do not.
Yeah.
not.
Oh.
No, it's especially
bucket
Lady
list.
Death, like Polito guards that one, and
Okay.
rightfully so. I mean, if you're new to the business and you're new to doing Comic Cons, it might be tempting to do some more, again, like just indie level stuff that you think is cool, that's big. But a lot of those guys and gals, like, they're still fighting to put money together to do Kickstarters and everything else like everybody else is. They're just on a bigger scale, and they don't want you stepping on their franchises.
Yeah, makes sense.
Does before really quick, does anybody know, does Warhammer ever work with indie artists? Like, you know how like MTG works with indie artists sometimes to release official stuff. Does anybody have any word on if they work with indie artists to release official limited edition stuff? Or
I have no idea. I don't know if anyone in the chat knows.
Might be worth asking.
Yeah,
right.
I know
Send
some
an
of the
email.
fan art projects they do embrace, though. There's a couple of guys. Actually, there's one single dude that does high-end video renders of Warhammer stuff on YouTube. And the dude has some of the most badass CGI I've ever seen.
Nice.
I don't know anything about Warhammer, but like that dude needs a job.
Right. Well, I'll have to look into it. I definitely don't want to cause myself any problems. So.
Yeah, all that to say, I do know one very prominent artist that I will keep nameless at this point, just because he does do a ton of shows. That does have two very prominent Space Marines at his booth now, and they are big. If I just had to describe it, they are giant banners, and they're probably like 6 feet tall. If that gives you any clue as to who the artist might be.
I know who you're talking about.
And he laughed when I was talking to him about it. He's like, yeah, I know GW's gonna say something at some point, but we'll wait till they smack me down. Then I'll take him down.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Chris says that he's actually approached G-Dubs, say 250,000 license fee minimum.
Wow.
What?
I'd be curious to see like if that's just for anything in particular. Like, I don't know.
That's just that's a little outrageous to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never heard of him and his bags. Coordinated tablecloths.
That's funny.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, friends, it has been a great stream. It's been great hanging out and chatting. I think I'm actually going to go to bed. I'm going to finish up with very, very good Remus high-end rye. And we're going to call it there. But check out James at Sketching the Beast everywhere. He's on, you name it. Yep. Instagram, whatnot, all the socials. If you're on there, Facebook, check him out. Mikkel, you're at on, do you prefer Instagram, Facebook?
I think I'm on everything. I'm on Facebook, Mikkel Overholtz, or Art by Mikkel Overholtz on Instagram. I'm _Geisha Ninja, and YouTube. I'm here. I think it's just Art by Mikkel Overholtz here.
Rock on.
Oh yeah. And one more time for the chat, mostly just for Chris. This is actually really good rye. If you like a rye from time to time, Remus, 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 high-end rye. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm hoping it's like $50 a bottle and not like $200. Because this is the next best rye that I've had is called it's gonna escape me. I got it at Lexington. That was the year you saw me drinking down in the parking lot. Yes, Remus. Yes, correct, Remus. I had a double oaked rye back in 2 years ago at Lexington down in the parking lot before the show started, and that was $130 a bottle. So you got it, sir. Oof. All right, gents, ladies, all the friends that have joined us tonight, I do appreciate it. We're going to be back next week. I might be doing a Whatnot show on Tuesday. I got to figure out my life if I'm going to do that or not. Thanks to all the guests for hanging out. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Peace out, guys.